And we are now live. Hello, everyone. Dr. Feelgood here. I know it's been a while. I've had a few things pop up in life. Nothing too serious, but I'm back. OGL number 40. I did have something originally planned, something I mentioned, I think, about 5 podcasts ago, the Troll Cast, but I'll say that for another day still. But with me tonight, I have my usual few baskets and a few more may pop in. So go ahead and introduce yourselves, starting with Kenoshi. Are you there, Kenoshi?
Okay.
Kenoshi, you there? Okay, we'll move on. Go ahead, Mr. Red Fox.
Me, Mr. Red Fox. If I'm a little distracted during this cast, I'm playing Saints Row the third, Enter the Dominatrix, and right now I'm beating up people with a dildo bat.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, I'm back.
All right, go ahead and introduce
Okay.
yourself, Kenoshi.
Well, this is Kenoshi Abominito saying whoever buys the ukulele is part of the problem. Thank you and good night.
Well, are you saying I'm gonna be part of the problem if I buy it for the Nintendo Switch, man? I mean,
I'm still buying that
Oh,
damn
yeah.
game. I don't
Yeah.
care. The game looks fun. I'm getting it.
and next up will be Perry fan.
Well, this is Perry Fan, local citizen of the internet, here to talk some video games and now frequent fridge cleaner for my PS4.
All right. Well, first up, as Kenoshi mentioned, we're going to talk about ukulele and the cancellation for the Wii U, which I'm pretty sure almost everyone that backed the game is not too, at least for the Wii U, they're not happy about it. Um, both a little disappointed, but mostly indifferent because my intention was that I wanted it for Nintendo console. I believe it's going to sell the best, but I'm getting it because I think again like that it will be better on Nintendo console. But since they say that they may more likely be working on a Switch version, um, to me that was a redeeming factor. Okay, if you cancel it for the Wii U, I get it. If it's going to be on a Switch, I can kind of let it slide. But that does not mean I'm going to completely ignore those that did back it for the Wii U. Looking forward to the game when it releases in a few months. So, how do you guys feel about it as far as and also their reasoning for it? And Kenoshi, since you mentioned it, you can go first.
Well, I'm not really mad about them switching it to the Switch. Like that's yeah, I was expecting that actually because the Wii U is the Wii is more or less a legacy console at this point, and you know the thing is, I just wish they would have came out and said that. It's like we feel that the Wii U is a legacy console. It's in its twilight moments, and the Switch is on the horizon. So we feel that it's better that we put more resources into the Switch version. So we humbly apologize for canceling the Wii U version and inconvenience anybody who would have liked it to be on the Wii U. And if they would have said that, I would have been fine with it. Yeah, people would have been mad, but it wouldn't have been like this lousy excuse like, oh, we ran into some technical issues and we tried for months putting it's like no you didn't. No you did. You wanted to switch. You wanted to put your resources towards the Switch version, which is fine, but let's just be honest about it.
You know,
Go ahead.
I would rather that in a perfect world they would put the thing on both. I mean, because we've seen this. We've like okay. I mean, is it Shovel Knight on the Vita?
Yeah, it's on the PS4 and
Yes.
the Vita. And,
I mean, like the Vita, like putting a game on the Vita is basically. I mean that. I mean it's a dead handheld. You putting a game on the Vita is just basically just assuaging those few people. But I mean, those few people who want it. I mean, that's what they should do. And I mean, I don't think. I mean, yeah. To be fair, they are a bit smaller than say Playtonic is smaller than Yacht Club, so I mean I understand that. But seriously, um, that's what they should have done. Either that, or they should have said, "Look, we can't really do it. It doesn't make sense for us, business wise, to put it on the Wii U. So we're going to give you guys the option to, you can choose what you want it on." That would have been cool, but whatever.
And to me, I agree with both you guys. But I will say this: I strongly believe, and I don't know why companies still need to do this, and I feel differently about the reasoning behind this. And I did make a video about this recently, so check it out. But to me, why is it so hard to just be honest? Because I could be wrong, but I thought the one they've been showing the videos of, the videos, the gameplay was the Wii U version. If it was a PC version, I stand corrected, but I thought it was the Wii U version. And then they've also come out on more than one occasion stating that the Wii U version was the preferred console. I mean, that's the console they were building it from, basically. That they were going for either that or the PC. Those are the two primary versions that they were building from. So the game was being ported to the PS4. It was being ported to the Xbox One and the others, but the Wii U was the one they were building from the ground up. If I think it was either that one or the PC, or if not both. So to then tell me that okay, your console of choice, the Wii U version, you're now having technical issues with, then why would you make that your console of choice? Because to me, you wouldn't make that distinction or that decision if you were having technical issues. And to me, you can't build most of the game. We're talking about this game comes out what? It was due out in what, February, March? So to me, you can't. Okay, April. You can't tell me that now this close to launch that you were having technical issues. The game was basically complete. You just doing bug testing. So in my opinion, what was happening or what has happened is that
It just makes more sense to put it on a console that's more.
that could potentially have a larger install base. And I
Well,
get that.
not the install base. I don't think the Switch is going to reach 13 million within the first year. I just don't. I do think that they want something that's going to have more industry relevance. The game's going to be on something that has more industry relevance. I can understand that. I mean, and these are former Rare employees. They know how Nintendo thinks, so it probably makes more sense. So, but I just wish they had been more like, look, like in a perfect world, they would give both people the options because not everyone. Okay, there are Nintendo fans who are excited about the Switch, but they aren't getting the Switch at launch. Like they're not. Um,
Yeah, and I know that, but it just to me it's like okay, there's nothing wrong with you coming out and saying, hey, look, guys, um, we understand that we did promise you a Wii U version, and we told you that this, but we have decided that we feel the game will sell better, or be a better. It will be better on the Switch itself. We apologize, but we decided to scrap the Wii U version and port it to the Switch. You would have said that, I'll be like, even though it's still messed up because I was looking forward to the game on the Wii U, it's still coming to the next Nintendo console, which is due out in 3 months. So cool, I can deal with that. But to give the same excuse that every other developer is giving that, well, the Wii U is weak, it couldn't handle a Batmobile, crap like that. To
which
me,
is
it's like,
bullshit.
okay, we've heard this too many times, and even some of the guys that said this have come out and said that, well, we lied. That actually wasn't the truth. We actually had a working version for it. We were just told to scrap it. We know now that the Wii U is not a weak console. We know this.
Yep.
But as I said in my video, and I could be totally wrong, but my belief is, man, this was Nintendo's decision. I truly believe it's Nintendo's decision, and I think that Nintendo are the ones that stepped in and said, look, we know you're working on a Wii U version. We know you basically already finished it, but we need you to go ahead and scrap this, take those resources, and hurry up and start porting this to the Switch as well. That way, this game has more potential. It has the potential to sell more on the Switch. Now you're right; it's not going to sell. It may not sell 13 million units in the first year, but the Switch already, based on just the hype around it and just what it is potentially going to dwarf the Wii U in a couple of years. I
Yeah,
do believe
but
that's going to happen.
look, listen. Okay, look. It might dwarf the Wii U. Just like here's the thing: in order for it to sell gangbusters, there's gonna be some things gonna have to happen. It's gonna have to have robust third-party support compared to what they had with the Wii U. At this point, that just means basically you're gonna have to have at least a third of the third parties, the big third parties supporting Nintendo. If they can get that to happen, it'll do relatively well. More than that, it's going to look pretty good. You know, when I say a third, I'm talking Namco Bandai, Capcom, um, Square Enix, maybe Activision, maybe Ubisoft. We know whenever someone says, "Well, but EA, yeah, fuck EA," okay, like listening to EA is like listening to a chick who says, "I'm not gonna cheat again," but this is like the third time you've caught her with some dude and it ain't you. Like at a certain point, you just gotta say, "Well, I just can't trust anything you say." On GP.
Like I said, I mean, I get it, and as I've stated, I definitely understand that. That's a lot of feedback. Someone got their who is it? Never mind. I just feel that Platonic, you could have said that, and even if it is Nintendo's idea, you still could have came out and just said that. Maybe Nintendo told them not to. I don't know. I'm not damage controlling. I could really care less, guys. Just so you know, I do want the game. I'm still going to get it if it's on the Switch. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with just saying, "Hey, we don't think it's going to sell," or "Hey, you know, we." To me, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd rather you be upfront and say, "You know what? We think that we're projecting we're only going to sell probably about 500,000 copies on the Wii U, but we think we'll sell 1.5 million copies on the PS4." Say that.
I think like,
I may not like it, but I would accept that.
I think it would have sold better if it. I still think that had they released it on the Wii U, it would have sold relatively well. Because the audience for those types of games is not on a PlayStation system.
But let me ask you this real quick. Since the Wii U version, given that the game is due to be released in roughly 4 months, do you think they're going to completely scrap what they've already done with the Wii U completely? I'm pretty sure it was basically a finished game.
No,
They just bug testing.
I think best case scenario they might release it afterwards. That's best case scenario. Probably won't happen. I think they're just gonna move that project over to the Switch. Which I mean, look, Nintendo wants their next console to start off strong because let's keep it real. The Wii U did not start off very strong. It did not start off with a very strong lineup. New Super Mario Brothers U is a good game, but it was not a good game.
We were expecting.
It wasn't a good game to have at the start. That's all I'm going to say on that.
I would agree because it did not really showcase what the console itself could do. It basically that game was like, that game you had on the Wii U doing like in the middle of its life cycle. We'll give you that game with multiplayer and HD graphics. Well, that's great, but it's still more or less the same game as before.
What with New Super Mario Brothers?
New Super Mario Brothers U when compared to New Super Mario Brothers Wii. Like it was basically more or less the same game. Of course, a lot more content, and of course in HD and with multiplayer. Well, offline, cooperative multiplayer. But as you mentioned, it's more the same. It didn't really showcase what the console itself could do.
Normally I would agree with you on that one, except I would say that New Super Mario Brothers U, it was a very good-looking game. It did have a lot of content, and I mean, I don't think it was more like New Super Mario Brothers Wii. The only thing that it seemed like is that it looked similar, like it had a similar graphical style. But those New Super Mario Brothers games, beyond the basics, the gimmick in each of them is always very different. It's not the same thing over and over and over again. What I will say is that game, like that's not the game that it should have launched with. Like the Wii U should have launched with maybe it definitely should have launched with Wonderful 101. Definitely the two Bayonetta games. There's games that are in Japan that should have came to the system day one, worldwide. The third party shouldn't have just ported a whole bunch of shit that you could get on. Which is, I mean, like here's the thing: people who are hearing all this shit from EA and Activision and Ubisoft. Oh yeah, we're gonna support the Switch. What you're gonna see on the Switch is a whole bunch of ports of shit that you can get on your current gen stuff, and it's just gonna double down to what people to what happened last time. Because I mean, not every gamer is gonna be like you, who's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna get the Nintendo version because it probably will have a unique hook that makes it worth playing over the other version. Most people, like if they're gonna get a game, Like if you already have Skyrim, why the fuck would you go out and get Skyrim on the Switch if it comes to like that makes no sense.
You can take it with you. It's portable.
Yeah, but not really. I mean, like seriously, why that makes no fucking sense. Like, and that's the problem with a lot of ports is that I mean, it's like for a lot of people, if you're a multi-console owner, you already have these games. So buying it again on another system, unless there's an interesting thing about it, and just portability is not good enough. Because if portability was good enough, more people back in the day would have been like, oh, well, I'll just get the portable version of Mortal Kombat versus the home console version. And that wasn't the case.
But they were two very different games back then. They had to be because of technical differences.
Not always. Not always. When you got to the later generations, they were very similar to each other. I mean, the fact of the matter is that most gamers aren't going to do that. They didn't do it last gen. They didn't do it the gen before that. Most gamers, if they buy a version of something, most people are not that dedicated, and they don't want to blow that much money on multiple versions of the same game. They just aren't. Like that, you're talking to a very small niche that does that, and it's not big enough to justify the expense. And that's what I mean. You can already hear the rumblings of it because that's what these companies always do because they're publishers and they don't want to spend a lot of money. Like they don't want to spend a lot of money on something that they can't port to other systems, right?
Yeah, because they don't have any other sources of getting money, so they put all their eggs in one basket. They put all their eggs.
Well, it's not so much that; it's just cheaper for them. I mean, look at this from a business perspective. Okay, if it's like, let's say you own a restaurant, right? And you have to make, let's say you own a soup restaurant and you have to make 18 different soups, right? It's easier for you to keep a base of 3 different types of base soups and then change the ingredients of those 3 into 6 different categories to make 18 than to keep 18 different soups cooking. It's less labor intensive and time intensive. So I mean, this is how these people think.
True.
They're like, it's easier for me to just have a game that I can port over to other consoles with some minor tweaks than to sit there and have something very unique. The problem with Nintendo for these publishers is that their hardware is very unique. Like you can't just, it's not just this lazy ass porting, which is what a lot of publishers want to do. Oh, we just put the code into the PC, just press some buttons, and it was running. That's what they want. That's what they got from the Xbox One and the PS4. And now gaming has kind of gone downhill. The quality of the games you've been getting has been going downhill because of it. But the publishers have been making money with DLC and shit like that. So, I mean,
Well, what about you, Perry? What do you think about this whole thing with them canceling ukulele on Wii U?
I guess that's a lot of weird feedback. Where's that coming from? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I think it best describes what I said. I actually tweeted to Platonic when they under one of the things they're like, "Hey, we're gonna switch. We're canceling the Wii U version." And then there was a lot of replies, and my reply was basically like, "I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. But a portable ukulele would sound fun. But you're not gonna forget us Nintendo fans when it comes to physical releases, right?" And they liked it. So it was either they liked it because they agree and they want to make a physical, or they liked it because I wasn't an asshole and it was actually just a very clear, concise, well-made tweet that wasn't being mean or degrading them, because they were getting a lot of those, especially like Grant Kirkhope and the like. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm not angry, just disappointed. Should have seen it coming, because honestly, if you go back and look at, say, the E3 footage or any gameplay footages from PS or PAX East, even PSX, that one they went to another place down south. I can't remember which convention it was, but a lot of playthroughs are little things were either the PS4 or Xbox One. You saw a lot of Sony, like PlayStation, like YouTube videos and Xbox websites promoting it, but we've never seen hide nor hair of it on any Wii U promotion except a sizzle reel from like a while ago, like a good while ago. So like it would always like I was always say, even at this E3, even when it was going to put out like little like indie things on their YouTube, or did that indie thing on say that pre-show go and show YouTube Red thing, they didn't even mention it, or wasn't even mentioned at all. Of course, they like to show things coming out soon, and at that time it was scheduled for a fall. They were trying to hit a fall release, but even then, like Nintendo it was never shown, seen. They never even spoke of it of any kind. So it was always weird to see. But anyway, yeah, I'm not angry, just disappointed. I was gonna buy it on Wii U and probably PS4 both because I want to support them. And anyway, like I want to give them money anyway because I didn't have time to donate to the Kickstarter of any kind. So like because of that, I'm not completely and utter like heartbroken or like betrayed, as some would say. But yeah, I'd probably buy it on Switch and probably PS4 at the same time. So yeah. I really want a physical release. That's the big thing for me, though.
And that's understandable. I mean, I agree with that sentiment as well. I just feel like, look, man, this has happened a lot. I remember when it was like a big debacle with one of the Call of Duties in recent years, where they weren't sure if it was coming to the Wii U because the commercial, I guess, didn't show the Wii U logo, but then when they first announced it, it had a Wii U logo at the end of the ad. And then ad, people were like, was it coming or is it not coming? It's like, well, it did indeed come. I think it ended up being like Ghost or whatever. But it was just like, I'm not sure if people, if like developers or publishers have to pay to have their logo advertised with the game, and because it does indeed help with promoting the game because people know it's coming to a particular console. So I'm not sure if the console makers have to pay for that logo to be able to put an ad or not. And Nintendo's just cheap, which we know they're cheap. They're very frugal. That's how they make money because they don't spend much of it. But and same thing with Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs got tons of ads before it came out. But when the Wii U version dropped, you didn't hear damn thing.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Ubisoft sent that game out to die.
Of course, they released it next to Smash Bros. I get that.
No,
but
not even that. They pushed it back. Like people, like Ubisoft was like, well, we pushed it back for quality. You pushed it back to get it away from the re-release of GTA 5 because you knew if it had come out near the re-release on the next-gen consoles of GTA 5, that shit would have sold even worse. I mean, if you have no faith in your product, why should they have faith in the product?
True. Don't get me wrong. I agree with that. I just wish there was a little more honesty. Like we've seen over the years since the Wii U's release, that developers that said that it was too weak to put a game on, too hard to work with. A lot of them had come out and said, I guess since leaving the company, or I guess after said project had ended, the NDAs were gone, or whatever case may have been. Whatever reason, they come out and said, no, what actually wasn't true. We had a working model, we had a working version, blah blah blah. And people still want to believe the narrative of it's too weak. It's like, well, people have come out and said that it wasn't true. And what I don't understand is, I guess for Playtime to come out and say this is like, even though you're a good developer, you sound just like the bad publishers.
Exactly.
And that's not good. You had come out and made a game, and for you to already potentially piss off most of the Wii U fans interested in buying your game, some folks may have actually will probably would have bought a Switch version just to double dip and support you, but now they may be considering not buying it at all because it's like, well, shit, like you shitting on the system that I actually like. You canceled the version that I wanted, and now it's like, well, I mean, I know you know you're full of shit. So why should I even buy your product? And I've already known a few people personally on Google Plus. It was like, yep, I'm not buying the game at all, not even for the Switch. I'm like, well, damn, like I wasn't taking it that serious, but
like, okay,
I get it because Mr. T said that before. Mr. T said if you release a bad product or you have a shitty reason for like canceling or whatever, not porting it, he says I'm not gonna support your product on any console. And I can actually agree with that. I can.
let me
If
put
it's
it this
shit, if
way.
you some one place, I'm just gonna count you out altogether.
Let me put it this way. I'm one of those people who actually did give them money. I managed to eke in there, and like, like I remember what these people used to be capable of. I understand we're in a different industry now, and that um, people who ought not have ever been in the gaming industry are now at the head of publishing houses, making the decisions on what projects go forward, what projects die an early death. I understand that. The fact of the matter is that um, like the audience for this type of game is not on a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Okay, okay, because like the PS, well, not the Xbox One so much, but the PS4, they've gotten games like this. They bomb spectacularly on the biggest install based system,
Can
home
I say
console
something
system.
that'll make you laugh and go, "Oh God," in that Mr. Red Fox way? So if you watch any of like the gameplay thingies that are like sponsored by like the like PlayStation based YouTube channels, it's always two people. It's usually a man and a woman for some odd reason, and the girl's always playing. I don't know why. And the guy's like, "This is the game that PS4 owners have been wanting forever to come back. These type of games." It's like, oh no, it's
And they
not.
don't buy them. I mean, like they're like, oh man, I totally want this game. You people don't buy these games. You will not buy them. It's weird. I know it's terrible, but you don't like because I mean you're right. They say that they're like, oh man, you guys have been waiting for Ratchet and Clank. I have to admit, I too was waiting for Ratchet and Clank, and then I played it and I realized, okay, you basically remade the original game. You smoothed out some of the jaggies, some of the rough edges. It looks great, but I mean, if you were gonna like, to tell you the truth, the best Ratchet and Clank is Up Your Arsenal or Going Commando. The first one, not that good. Like, if you're a Ratchet and Clank fan, if you actually understand that you know that series.
Yeah, and I actually have the HD trilogy on PS3, but
Good game.
it's as I stated, they could have gone about this a better way. They could have been one of
Yeah.
the few publishers that came out and just gave us the truth. It still would have probably had a negative effect, of course, because you're canceling the version that someone is paid for and was expecting to get. But at least you could have at least would have been like, well, that makes sense. The Wii U, although it's a great console, is not selling well. It's about to be replaced by the Switch in a few months. So I can understand why you want to just move it over to the Switch. I can deal with that. You know what? I'll take a Switch version. But saying that, oh yeah, we having technical issues. It's like, well, hold on. Damn it, you've been bragging about the Wii U version since you announced this shit, and now the Wii U version is the one giving you problems. That sounds a
Yeah.
lot like Project Cars.
Or Batman Batman Arkham City. I mean, I mean, it's like it's like they treat us like we're idiots, and that is offensive to me.
Yeah, that's my problem. That's my. That's honestly my problem is that they're insulting our intelligence by saying this BS that it can't run on the Wii U or that we can't get it technically. It's not. We tried all we can and we just ran into some technical. They're insulting our intelligence, and that's what makes me mad. Not the
And
fact that
and
that it's moved to the Switch.
and
It's the
it
fact
feeds
that they think we're that stupid.
and it feeds into this, and it feeds into the bullshit notion that oh well, it's about power or the architecture. Look, listen, are really all that powerful. If you have a moderate range PC from 2 years ago, it shits all over any of these, even the pro versions that have come out that came out or going to come out within the next year. So, like, you're dealing with obsolete technology anyway. So I mean, like if I hear one more person say, "Well, it's about the power argument," well, it's underpowered. It doesn't. At this point in time, it doesn't fucking matter how powerful a console is.
Let me ask you this question: if power was such an issue, if it was such a problem, why
Someone's got us. Someone's got this thing on.
Why aren't they making PC? Why are they still making console games? If power is such an issue, why not focus
consoles
on
day
the
one,
hardcore PC games?
Because consoles day one are obsolete.
Exactly.
Okay, they are a console, a handheld. All that technology is obsolete day one. As a matter of fact, even your smartphone. By the time a smartphone hits the market with all of those, it's got this little camera. The parts they're using were top of the line 2 years ago with a smartphone. Okay.
Well, I mean, I hope it all works out. And as I said in my video, I actually made it to calm people down. I was like, look, guys, I know you're pissed, but if we are getting a Switch version, I'm not saying everyone's made of money, but at least we're still getting which I will say, this is to me. You don't have to feel the same way, but to me, we're getting a Nintendo-esque game by people that have worked with Nintendo in the past and delivered some great games, and we're still getting this great game on a Nintendo console. So I can live with that.
Yep.
So if they would have counted and said, "Oh, it's gonna just be PS4, PS3, I'm PS4, Xbox One, and PC," I probably would just say, "Screw it." No, because those consoles look at knack. Those consoles platformers don't do well. I only think Ori and the Blind Forest did that well.
And that's because it was on. It's on multiple consoles. It's not like. And if you look at the overall install base, it still didn't do that well. Like
Exactly. Because I think you talk about PC and Xbox One, it sucks.
The audience for those games are not on those consoles. Okay, the audience for these games is. Oh God, I wish people would stop. Oh, this is the game.
Red, that brings up memories of when that developer bitched about not getting a Switch kit. It's like you put your game on Xbox One and PC and Windows 10,
and it bombed. So what?
Whose fault is that? If you would have had a Wii U version, then I'd be like, okay, I can see why you may be upset, but you put your game exclusively on Windows 10 and Xbox One. You can't get mad because the game that you did and put on the Xbox One, which is a competitor, that Nintendo's not going to give you a Switch kit. Like, come on now, let's be real. You can't expect that kind of trust, and you just finished working with their competitor. I'm sorry, you can't expect that. That's like asking. That's like Activision asking, "Hey Nintendo, even though we didn't drop Infinite Warfare or Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 3 on the Wii U, give us a kit so we can give us a kit or whatever. We feel deserve one." No, you didn't drop your last 3 major titles on my console, so why would we give you a kit?
What have you done to deserve? What have you done to deserve this system? What have you done to deserve to get nothing?
How many games have you canceled on me before over the last few years? How many times you left us out in the cold when we told people a game was coming, then to find out that it's not?
Or it gets canceled, or they're like, "Oh well, no, the system can't handle that." And don't get me started with WB and their bullshit.
Yeah, that's not. Let's move on to the next topic.
The system, it can't handle. The system can't handle. It can't handle the Batmobile. Well, apparently, people's ultra powerful PCs that shit on the Xbox One and the PS4 in terms of power can't handle the shit either. So it's either their PCs are too weak or your system, the game is coded like shit.
Well, we'll move on to Final Fantasy 15. And I kind of have an issue with this, but before we move on, let me go ahead and let Timeout Corner introduce himself. Go ahead, man, if you're there. I guess he's not there. Well, Final Fantasy 15. I have the game on PS4. I have not opened it yet. I do plan on playing. Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Okay, I had it on mute. All right, it's Timeout Corner. Yeah, that's it for now.
All right. And well, before we move on to Final Fantasy, do you have anything to say about the whole ukulele being canceled for the Wii U before we move on?
I haven't really looked at it too much as far as what's going on with it, so not really.
Okay. Well, Final Fantasy 15, guys. I read in a recent article that stated that Square Enix plans on releasing DLC for the game, which we all knew, but they plan on expanding. That they're going to add in some more additional cutscenes to flesh out, I guess, Chapter 13 or one of the later chapters that felt rushed. I've seen that a lot in the community as of late. That the game is good, but they felt that the last half of the game was rushed and was kind of like incomplete or just kind of missing something. It didn't feel as fleshed out as the first half. And as I said, I haven't played it, but I own it. So I will get into it and find out for myself. But they said that we're gonna, add more additional cutscenes to give you more in-depth, I guess history and stuff with the characters. Flesh out more characters that they showed a lot in the Kingsglaive movie, but didn't necessarily show at all, very little or at all in the actual game itself. And along with some other stuff. Now, I agree with Liger of Duo. Shout out to him. That this may not change the base or core story at all. I get that. But to me, here's where I have an issue. This game has been in development for over 10 years. In addition to releasing this game, you released an anime and a CGI movie, of which that CGI movie looks a lot better than Advent Children. You mean to tell me that after 10 years, you added an anime and a movie, as well as another mini game? I forget what it's called. I think it's called King's Quest or something. I forget what it's called.
Oh, don't forget the VR support, the VR mini game.
I ain't talking about this shit. No.
That,
but
don't forget the car too.
You did all this 10 years, and you didn't put in everything in the game that you were supposed to put in there? That now you're saying that you're going to add more additional cutscenes and additional missions or whatever. I forget what it said. I have to bring up the article. You can look it up. But it was an interview with the creators of Final Fantasy 15. So they're going to add more content to it. And it may be free, it may be paid. But they did speak about adding additional scenes to flesh out the story. Why wasn't this in the release product?
Can we just call it what it is? Okay. Why are we?
I want to know what you guys. I mean, of course, I think I kind of know what it is. We've all been down this road before, but to me, I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt because they haven't said they would charge for this. Not saying they won't, but they haven't said they would charge for this.
They're not. This is completely different than the season pass, whatever that's supposed to be, because they haven't really said what the season pass offers.
Excuse me, but what's the question?
Question is
Final Fantasy 15. There was a recent article that stated that they interviewed, I guess, one of the developer and said that we're going to add additional like cutscenes to the later chapters in the game. Specifically, 13 is one of them to flesh out more of the characters. They're going to add cutscenes and other content throughout the game to bring a little more light on characters that they showed in the Kingsglaive CGI movie, but didn't necessarily touch on during the game itself. And it's the most stuff, but they have a lot of stuff they're going to add to the game. It's DLC, but it's not a part of the season pass. But I'm thinking, why wasn't this shit in there before the game released? You had 10 years.
Here's
what wasn't ready for prime time. It wasn't ready.
Here's what I'll say about Final Fantasy 15 as someone who has finally beaten it. The game is not a Final Fantasy game in the classical sense. It really isn't. If you're expecting, I've been seeing people who have been, paid advertisers. Oh, this is Return to Final Fantasy. Bullshit it is. The game is, first of all, look, this game has been in development for 10 goddamn years, and yet you don't control a party of characters. You have one character. 10 years, and there's no interesting characters to control with multiple viewpoints. Just a whole bunch of dudes who look like they escaped from J. Crew magazine. Fuck this game. I'm sorry. No. I'm done. I'm done with Square Enix and Final Fantasy.
It's trash.
It's not a JRPG. It looks like a JRPG. Oh, they want you to believe it's a JRPG, but then you play it and you're like, not really. No. if you want to play a Final Fantasy game, there's a game on the Wii U called Xenoblade Chronicles X. And that's a JRPG. It's got a party. It's got mechs. It's got weird looking animals. It's got a hot alien chick. Well, chicks. Well, okay. There's like a few that look hot. The rest of them have butter faces, but still. But I mean, look. The game's been in development for 10 years. It's still unfinished. What the fuck were these people doing? Like, what were they doing? Just like looking at a wall, watching paint dry. The money ran out, and they were just sitting down twiddling their thumbs. Well, we ain't working until we get paid.
Yeah, they spent all that money on hookers and steak dinners, and they were like, "Yeah, we got to put out a game, so here you guys go."
What, hookers and blow?
Hookers and steak dinners. Hookers, blow, and steak dinners.
Actually, they don't call them hookers in Japan. It's called compensated dating.
Okay, look, you rat bastard.
They spend all the money on compensated dating.
Okay, what are your thoughts, Close? Like I say, if you can look through the article, you can probably find it. Just look up like Final Fantasy DLC or whatever, Final Fantasy 15 DLC. You can easily find it, and he tells you like exactly what they plan on adding. And don't get me wrong, to me, in a perfect world, it seems like, okay, you're supporting your game, you're adding new content, it's supposedly free, and you're gonna flesh out some things. But to me, like I said, I still felt even with that mentality, I still felt like, but this should have been there already. Anything story related, when we're talking about a RPG, when talking about an RPG, there should be nothing story related left out. There should be no story DLC. I don't give a shit if it is additional. It should be free, because that is the thing that makes an RPG attractive. The story is the main portion while we play. It's the main reason. The battle system, but first it's the story.
So, what kind of DLC they got for the story? I haven't looked at.
They haven't finalized it. They're still working on it. It says, let's see. After those updates come out, Square Enix will put its sights on Final Fantasy XVIS, Part 15, as some would say, story and add more scenes and sequences. We're hoping to delve deeper into the story, adding scenes that will give you new insight into character motivations, such as why Ruvus walked the path he did, he said. We will need a little time with these, as they'll need to be localized and voiced in other languages, but we'll let you know the details once everything is set.
So let me get this straight. This game has been in development for 10 goddamn years, and it's still not done?
They're also looking to add more playable characters besides the 4, and other features that they have in mind, such are letting you carry over stats from previous playthroughs, and that just got confirmed that in like next week they're adding a New Game Plus mode, which is fine by me because Witcher 3 did that as well, which is fine because like not everyone's going to beat the game in a day and be like, where's my New Game Plus? But anyway, and adding items that introduce new playstyles, such as low-level runs and God mode, Tabata said. We're also examining readability tweaks, increasing font size. Witcher 3 didn't do that until like the end, but oh my god, it was a godsend. Yeah.
So okay.
Including new bosses, exclusive rewards, achievements, and limited time hunts. Oh, those are the worst. I hate those like, oh, you're online, here's this limited time thing.
So let me get this straight. Okay. This game has been in development for 10 fucking years. And there's still shit not done. And that's the first effed up thing about this game. Number 2.
There's also that's not everything. Hold on. They also wanted
more? Oh shit.
Yeah. Hold on. That's the paid stuff. Hold on. They added stuff that makes it sound like a completely different game. Where is it? Let's see. Oh yeah, the chapter 13. They're in quotes the gameplay enhancements and also buffs to ring magic, among other things. Specifics about the free updates coming later. Let's see. Free updates throughout the coming year, so they're going to put it throughout the year. Where I saw it, I read it, that they want to add. Where is it? Add. Let's see. Well, the paid stuff is they announced the paid stuff, and it's just like packs, like a holiday pack, a booster pack, episode Gladiolus, episode Ignis, episode Prompt. So I'm guessing you get to play as them in a little story, and an expansion pack called Comradas. Or Comrades, and that is online co-op is the last paid expansion. But they're looking to add new playable characters and let's see. Oh, a customizable avatar.
So basically, what Xenoblade Chronicles X already has, they're going to add to it next year sometime, hopefully.
And Xenoblade Chronicles X was in development for 4 years. So what the real SquareSoft team could do in 4 years, these fucking incompetents couldn't do in 10. Okay, fair enough.
But see, here's the thing. I made a post about this, and I had a conversation with Liger of Induo, and I said, well, I just actually bought this game. I may take it back because I'm pretty sure what's going to happen sometime next year is going to be a collector's edition or director's cut. It's going to have all this stuff built into the game automatically. Because I would hate for them to say that this is going to be free and then end up charging for it. That would piss me off because I don't want to support that model at all. And his thing was, I'm telling you right now, more than likely, whatever they add is not going to affect the core story much. He said it's not going to affect the outcome or anything. It just may flesh out a few details. I said, okay, that's the case. I'll just keep it. But I still feel it's kind of messed up that this shit was not finished after this game took 10 plus years to develop and get out. And then even when it came to its release date, that got pushed back an additional few months.
So it's basically this game has been in development for over a decade and it's still not done.
Oh, didn't they say they pushed it back a month so they wouldn't have to have a day one patch?
No, they
Was there
said
a day one patch?
they said there was content that would be missing, and I'm like,
No,
motherfucker.
they said they wanted to do it because they wanted to avoid a huge day one patch.
And it still had a day one patch.
It still had a huge
So-
day one patch.
Look, can we just look? Listen, let's just keep it real, okay?
They're a bunch of liars.
The SquareSoft we grew up with is gone. It's dead, and these fuckers who replaced it are not. Basically, they're boys trying to do a man's job. Okay.
It does suck though. But as I said, I haven't played the game yet. I'm going to. I'm looking forward to playing it. However, when I heard this news, that interview, I was like, hold on. This game just released. There's already a season pass, which I'm not going to buy. And you're telling me that, oh, well, we know that you guys may feel the last half of the game was, kind of rushed and missing content, whatever. So we're going to add a few more cutscenes to flesh out the story, give you this, give you that. But I'm like, why wasn't this in there to begin with? You know what? Instead of wasting your time on that damn movie, Kingsglaive, why didn't you just put the Kingsglaive as CGI in a damn game?
Or even better, why didn't you just put the fucking content for Kingsglaive in the damn game? Oh, wait, that would have required good development skills. Like I said, this is look. Okay, here's what people need to understand. Okay, this game came from Square Enix. A lot of people are making the mistake of thinking that the people who we grew up with at SquareSoft are the same people who are making these games. Those people are gone. The people who stayed behind are the C team. Like the A team back in the day with B.A. Baracus and Murdoch and Face and I forgot that other guy's name.
The ones that left, actually, the ones that we used to, that we miss, they're actually at Monolith Soft.
Yeah, the A team.
And
Like,
this Walker?
okay, the A team and the B team left. The A team is Sakaguchi and a lot of the other people, the dude that made Secret of Mana, like they left, and that dude's over at they're making that Secret of Mana-esque game for the 3DS that's coming out next year, and a lot of them went and started their own studios. Some of them went to form Monolith Soft, other ones went to form Miss Walker. They're gone. The A and B team are gone. The people left are the people. It's like the dregs of the barrel. It's like when you make wine and that dirt and dust and skins and the shit that no one wants to drink. That's what's left at Square Enix, okay? And that's who made this game. And that's why you have a game that's been in fucking development for over a decade and it's still not finished. Fuck them. There you go. No more excuses. No more, it's like Splatoon bullshit.
No, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that from anybody. Whoever says that needs a swift punch in the stomach.
It's like Splatoon. Look, listen. Splatoon had a beginning, middle, end. It had customizable characters, had different types of weapons. It was a complete game day one. This shit is not a complete game day one, and I'm tired of people acting like it is. Okay, it's missing a whole bunch of content. Um, like, could you imagine that bullshit? If Nintendo was like, "Oh, if you want to find out what happened to the world of Splatoon and all the shit that happened, that's not going to be in the game. You got to watch this anime."
Stop it, man. Stop
and
it.
read this manga and watch this anime.
Just stop it.
You'd be like, look, what type of bullshit is this? And yet apparently it's perfectly acceptable for these bunch of losers.
Well, anyone else got anything to say regarding Final Fantasy 15 and its additional, potentially free content coming?
It's free? Oh well.
It's supposedly going to be
Yeah, it's free.
outside with the season pass. It's supposed to be free.
This is the free stuff.
I don't trust it because Square Enix.
Well, they have a season
money
pass,
crunch.
so I don't know.
Square Enix is in the season is in the money crunch. I don't trust it.
I don't know.
Well, right now it's supposed to be free, and I'm going to go by that. I'm not saying that they won't end up charging.
The
Right now,
first
it's
one
supposed to
is,
be free.
from what I read in the article, the first one is New Game Plus, I think next week. Hold on, let me go back to the Google search because I have that on there. But yeah, New Game Plus is supposed to be the first thing to come out of this. Yeah, first free DLC pack in December.
I guess that
December 22nd.
Let's goes bad pretty quickly, doesn't it?
What?
Lettuce goes bad pretty quickly, doesn't it?
It does.
What the
Yeah,
hell?
there's a holiday pack that'll be downloadable for everyone. Then there's a holiday pack plus, which will be exclusive for a season pass. The free one has a New Game Plus.
Okay. Anyone else before we move on?
do
Time out corner?
do 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 do.
So,
Would you say
Well,
something?
if you want to play a real Final Fantasy game by Square, go play Bravely Default.
If you want to play a real Final Fantasy game, go buy Bravely Default. If you want to play a great Final Fantasy game, buy any of the Hironobu Sakaguchi ones.
Yeah.
When I say Hironobu,
Which is 10 and below.
yeah, which is 10 and below. Those ones,
Except for Final Fantasy VII. We don't talk about that.
you can even get that. Look, let's put it this way: Final Fantasy VII is better than
It's better than 13.
It's better than 13. It's better than 15. Yes, I said it. It's better than 15.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you
Oh,
why.
okay.
Because
I
the
don't
game
know about
actually
that. I
has a
can't
party.
say it. I'll let you know after.
The game actually has a party you can control, and like they want to fool you because you have people fighting with you, but you don't actually control them. It's like you give them commands and they do shit. It's man, fuck this game. I'm done. And this is someone who was I so wanted this to be a good game. What you're hearing from me is disappointment in being sold a lie that I chose to believe because I'm a Final Fantasy fanboy.
All right.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore.
Well, anyone else on Final Fantasy 15 before we move on? All right. Well, you guys are going to enjoy the last one. I'm pretty sure you all have something to say.
Oops.
No, I got one thing to say. Sabin suplexed the motherfucking train. That's it. It's that.
All right. Well, next up, we are literally less than 1 month away from the January 12th reveal and information of the Switch. And we still got some whores out there sucking dicks for information, putting out rumors, saying whatever they need to say to get attention, to get clicks, to get views, coming up with all types of bullshit. And I'm thinking, 1 month away, you won't even have to guess anymore. They're going to tell you everything. And to me, it's like, okay, if Nintendo just showed their Switch video, and let's say just show gameplay like nothing else, I could understand you be like, okay, what's it gonna have? But at the end of the day, they gave you dates and we're gonna tell you everything come January 12th. People, when your professor gives you a date for a test, the only thing you have to do is study. But now, if your professor says, I'm gonna give you a test between, I'm just gonna give you a test, you want to know when it's gonna happen, like a pop quiz, but more serious, then I can see you be stressed out. You be looking for any kind of information you can because you want to know what the hell you're getting tested on. Because if the book is 1,000 pages, you you have reason to be concerned. But this is not the case. They giving you a date. They told you what they're going to cover, which is basically just that console. This is not going to be mixed in with 3DS or Nintendo Wii. This is a Switch worldwide information. That's all it is. They're going to reveal the price and everything along with it. Just shut the hell up and wait. And wait. All questions, I would say 90% of your questions should be answered. As far as what the Switch has in it, what it's going to cost, whatever the case may be, okay? Why is there still shit like Breath of the Wild canceled for the Wii U and games coming to the Switch, games that may not be coming to the Switch? Does the Switch have this? Is it using, the Pascal along with this architectural setup? Who gives a shit? You will know in less than, what,
when
3
they tell
weeks?
you will know when they tell you. That's in less than 18 days. You will know, and they will tell you. And people don't want to hear that.
It's like, I'm looking like, okay, hold on. It's literally less than a month away, guys. Literally. Spend time with your families. Buy and play games. If you're in school, you're about to be on winter break. Shut the hell up and play games. The information is coming. It's coming. And Nintendo comes out and says, you know what? We got delayed January 12th. We're going to delay that shit up until October next year. Then I can see you being a little bit anxious.
But you forget something, Doctor. You forget something, Doc. People don't play games. People don't enjoy the games that they have or go and buy games they want to play. People just want to talk shit and speculate and talk about the games they could be playing, but they'll never buy because they're assholes.
and that dude, I'm sorry, but to me, after they revealed the Switch, this shit should have stopped. And everyone thought that, oh, finally, it's going to stop. It's gotten worse. How is it that now we have how often does Nintendo give us dates? How often does Nintendo tell us something and give us a specific date? Not a quarter, not a month, a specific date. They gave us a date, people, and you guys are you're still being thirsty as hell. Still trying to remain relevant with your channels. Guess what? Just because you're the first one to find out some shit, it still ain't going to make you any better. You're not going to all of a sudden jump to owning your own business. Nintendo's not going to make you a shareholder. Nothing's going to happen. You're still going to be same old lame-ass YouTuber. Sorry. I'm not going to subscribe to you because you got some shit right. So all those people that are like, oh yeah, Emily Rogers, I trust it. Like, okay, so this broad guessed wrong like 10 times and then got one thing right, and then now you're eating her pussy. I'm gonna say it. It's like now you guys are all over this chick, and I even hear people in videos saying, like, with Emily Rogers, she's usually right. Define usually, because to me, usually means if you guess 10 times, you get 6 or 7 of them right. She's guessed 100 times, and she gets maybe 5 or 10 right.
No, she does maybe. Okay, she'll make 10 guesses, one will be right. But 10% is not a success rate that engenders a series of confidence. Like if you had a doctor, he's like, I've performed this surgery 100 times, only 10 people live. You wouldn't be like, oh, well, I totally want that guy cutting on me. You'd be like, get the fuck over me. But apparently that's acceptable.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But to me, it's like, okay, people, first of all, this is a damn game console. Do you know how much other more important shit there is to do with your day? besides making up rumors, I can honestly say I have yet to do a Nintendo Switch search on Google since they announced this thing almost 2 years ago. I've yet to do a single damn search. You want to know why? Because
Because you
I
didn't
don't
know it's
give a
called the Nintendo
shit
Switch
what's
2
in it
years
until
ago.
it comes out. I don't care what's in it until it comes out. I just don't care. Because to me, even if I know the specs, what's they gonna do for me?
Well, if
So
it
let's
has,
say,
if it
Wait,
has
dude.
Animal Crossing, it's gonna have Pascal in it.
okay,
But
let me
wait
say
a
this.
second, man.
Animal Crossing.
You need to
Sorry.
you need to talk about that shit right now because you need to get those clicks, man. And that's what this shit's about. It's about clicks, okay? The shit is about clicks. It has nothing to do with people actually interested. It's about clicks. It's about people wanting someone to say, "Oh man, they clicked on my site. People agree with me." That's all this shit is. And once people accept that, it becomes a lot easier to understand why people are doing the things they do.
I just, to me, I was really hoping it would stop. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't bother me like that because I'm not on the internet 24/7 looking up stuff and seeing it. But it just seems to me like almost in my feed every day, there's someone, Nintendo Switch rumor, this, Switch rumor, that. Is it more powerful enough? Nintendo Switch weaker than the PS4. Who who cares? What I don't
You
care
care.
at all. Even once it releases, I don't care if it's on par with the Xbox 360. I don't care. I
You
do
know you
not
want that
care.
system to be super powerful. You want a powerful system so you can connect with your friends.
Red, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. I still am playing games that have graphics on par with the PS1. All right? Those games are fun as hell to me. I still play them. I still play Power Stone the Dreamcast. That game does not look anything next gen at all. I don't care. It's just fun. I realized even before Wada said it, power means nothing at all. It's about great gaming experiences. But just to get back on the Switch, I just want to know. Let me stop messing around. I know why they're doing it to stay relevant for clicks, for views. But to me, have you thought about the fact that just because you get you guess right first, what how does that benefit you? I really want to know. Do you get 10,000 more subs because you get it? Is Nintendo going to send you a prize like, yep, shit, you got us. We have to come clean. Are they going to release the information sooner because you guessed right about it before they planned on doing it? No. No matter how accurate you're guessing, you still not going to know a damn thing. You won't still be able to confirm a damn thing until they say it. So what is the point, people? What do
Uh,
you guys? How you feel about this? And I mean that Switch horse, because you can't keep your mouth shut. You can't. As soon as someone says switch, you open your mouth.
and I like that double entendre you had there. I really did. That was a good double entendre. I have to give it to you. That was a good double
And then of course just as bad are the ones that click on every damn video that has switch in the title. You know how many videos I ignore with switch? You want to know why I
entendre.
ignore them? Because these people do not work with Nintendo. If Bill Trinen had a YouTube channel and he put it on there, I may click on it.
Yeah, but
I
we
may.
all
I
we all
may.
know what
But
would
I
happen.
know that shit wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. Nintendo would murder his ass.
Yep, they would totally. Well, they wouldn't murder his ass, but I mean Reggie would get on his ass. And
Yeah.
Even
that's
even
dangerous.
Reggie is scared to show anything that he shouldn't be showing because you saw him on Jimmy Fallon. They made sure don't even show him touching the screen. They even now this close, they're still hiding shit. They are still hiding shit about this console. Even Reggie's like, all right. I bet he told them when I grab this damn console, I want you to take the camera off my hands. Like, if you look at their mannerisms, these people are afraid to even say the damn name
Well, I
because
mean,
they know
we all know
they have
why.
to be.
Well, not only that, but I mean, look, we all know that Sony and Microsoft haven't had a fucking original thought with their consoles since they were created that they didn't steal from Nintendo. or try to steal from Nintendo. And we all know that I guarantee you that if Sony or Microsoft would find a way to steal something from it, they would. Or our console can do that too. Like I guarantee you, within 6 months of the Switch launching, you're gonna see Sony come up with some shit. There's a peripheral you can add to the PS4 Pro to make it portable.
How long after the
You know what?
Wait a minute. How long after the Wii U came out did Microsoft and Sony try to do the double screen thing? It was like
Before the shit came out, they were like, well, you can use Microsoft Glass in order to
The second screen
Microsoft
experience.
Surface. Yeah, the second screen experience. So we already know they're going to try and steal that shit. Because they don't come up with anything original. They just take other people's ideas, which is really kind of lame. It's like I would have more respect for you guys. Because even if it failed, at least you did something that was different. But that takes effort, and these people don't want to put in effort for anything.
I really just wanted to stop. And I know someone may be thinking like, well, man, I mean, just don't do this. Like, look at the people's channel. I don't look at it. But if you look at just a random Google Plus feed in the gaming community as a whole, that's pretty much all you see. Well, not really Google Plus, but in YouTube. Like, even I'm trying to find just like my friends' stuff, like maybe your video or podcast, Red, or anyone else. I would see 10 videos that say Switch is like, that's sad. And I even said this in a recent hangout with the Good Shepherd. My wife had not seen the Jimmy Fallon thing yet, and so I want to show it to her, but I want to show it to her to show her Super Mario Run. And I'm looking on YouTube, and I typed in, Jimmy Fallon, Super Mario Run. Do you know that even the segment they have on YouTube, all it contains is a Switch portion? They literally cut out all the Super Mario Run part. If you want to see Jimmy Fallon Super Mario Run, you have to go to NBC's website and watch the entire episode. But
no one cares about that game.
But see, every snippet of that episode that you look up on YouTube,
it's just the Switch.
Super Mario Run, it comes up Switch. There is no video of him doing Super Mario Run on YouTube. It's like, what the heck? That was a big announcement too.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. The only thing that counts is Switch. Like, here's the thing. Here's what's so funny about people talking about Nintendo with the Switch. Here's something. Okay, see, the industry perpetuated a lie. Okay, and the lie was that Nintendo was behind the times, and we need to, like, the leader of this industry is Sony, right? And Microsoft is the close second. But here's the problem. When Sony and Microsoft are the leaders of the industry, we get this stagnant, boring, and people are desperate. They want something that's fun and interesting. And they desperately want it. They want something that's like, oh man, this thing has so much stuff going on. They want it. They need it. They have to have it. And yet it's just not gonna work.
Well, how do you guys feel about this shit still going on with the rumors and announcements and this? Just attack the games, everything Switch rumor related. Just how do you guys feel that it's actually gotten worse, not better, since the reveal?
Expected.
Yeah, it's expected.
Indifferent. This happens with every Nintendo console. Even back then, even with magazines, it's just inflated because internet. That's about it.
Either for the
And
worst,
I'm just indifferent. Yeah.
innocent. Though.
I just hope it stops soon, because this is some bullshit to me.
It seems like
Bullshit, man.
down.
I think it's hilarious that you're letting this. You're right. It is bullshit. It is total and complete bullshit. But the problem is that there is no, there's no way to make this stuff work. You know what I'm saying? There's no way. There's no way to make it work. You know what I mean? There's just, you can't do it.
Anybody else?
Nope.
Because they're going to do whatever the hell they want to do no matter what. I mean, that's They're gonna keep on talking about the Switch. Oh man, the Switch does the Switch. The same way people were talking about all that other shit that doesn't matter. People like talking about shit that doesn't matter.
Well, I have a quick topic I want to bring up before we close out today. But I seen a post of someone I'm subscribed to on Google Plus. They made a statement saying that Switch it better be between 200 and 300 or Nintendo messed up and this and that, and since it doesn't have the power of the PS4, they no longer are that interested. I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. And we all know this double standard. We've all heard it before. Why is it be the most powerful and the cheapest? Does that make any? I mean, seriously, people, does that make any sense whatsoever? What? Okay, PS4 and Xbox One both have 8 gigs of RAM, both have 8 cores. Sony just has a DDR5 instead of a GDDR3 or whatever. But even still, please tell me why Nintendo has to be the most powerful, or at least on par, and be cheaper. Like, where does the and cheaper part come from? Because if they're the most powerful, then to me, it should be okay if they have the same price. But I've actually seen people say that, man, it better not cost them more than 250, like no more than 250. Well, hold on. Weren't you the same person say it better have 8 gigs of RAM or something comparable? Then you say it better be on par with the PS4. So if it's on par with the PS4, it needs to cost less than the PS4 did at launch. You okay with paying $400 for a console with virtually no games, even to this day? But Nintendo, with their valuable IPs, their unique experiences, they better not charge you no more than $250. Are you out of your damn mind?
Yeah, I've seen that a lot too. I've seen that a lot.
Well, I mean, I just want to know, like, okay, so let me get straight. A completely portable Wii. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying it's even worse because it's portable.
I think that's where a lot of people are like, oh, it's also portable, so portable are always cheaper, so it's going to be cheaper because it's portable.
Like, if it's portable and they want to be very powerful, that means it's going to be probably more expensive.
But you know what though? Shadow Fox made this as a retort to this person. I think it was Shadow Fox, but he said it's funny how people saying that it better not be over this price, but they had no issues running out spending $800 on the iPhone. They have no issues spending $500 on the Xbox One.
Yep.
You can buy all these expensive things. You can spend $200 on a pair of shoes, but a Switch console.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
That better not be over $300.
But
you just spent, but your Galaxy Note 7 that's blowing up in your damn face cost you $750.
Well, that's if you don't take if it's not subsidized with the contract. Look, here's the thing: Nintendo has for years, they've been the more economic, friendly console, right? Like the SNES was what, like $150, $149.99, with the game and 2 controllers, right? And the NES was what, $199, if I remember correctly, when it first launched, which was expensive for the time, but compared to a lot of other consoles that were out, not really, at the time. So I mean, basically, Nintendo's always been the more economic console. I think that the console isn't going to be as expensive as people think it is because it's using architecture that, once again, it's using a chipset, while it's heavily customized, is older than what people think. It's not the top of the line NVIDIA chip that's been heavily customized. It's older than that. So, I mean, they're not like, I still do think that Nintendo is going to go for the more economic friendly route because they want to get the install base. They want people to buy the thing. And it's easy to buy something when it's not so expensive that, like, you have to really think long and hard about whether or not you're going to buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
Like if
it's
it's
just
like if this system's $200 or $250, if it's $200, that'll be the sweet spot because that'll be like, oh, my kid's having a birthday, get a Switch, and it's a home console and it's also a handheld, kind of, sort of, a little bit. Okay, fair enough.
I just don't get the whole stigma that Nintendo, their console needs to be cheaper than everyone else because that doesn't have to be the case. I'm sorry, but it really does have to be the case. Just because they have historically does not mean that they should. My thing is, you guys always preaching about you want Nintendo to be the most, make the most powerful console, but then let's say they do. Then you're like, oh, well, it's too expensive. What the hell you expect? Do you
Yeah, but
expect to go?
even when they had the most, well, arguably the most powerful console at the time, it still wasn't like, breaking the bank. Like the N64, relatively powerful, but it was what, $99 at launch?
At launch, I think it was like maybe like no, N64 was like I think 199, dude.
Oh, you're right. I'm thinking of something else. But I mean, like $199 compared to its competitors, the PS1 was way more expensive than that. And the same thing with the Saturn.
I
Okay,
think I think the PS1 was when I bought it, it was 299, and the Saturn was actually 399. I
yeah.
bought
I
them
mean,
both.
of course they got to the point. The Saturn got to the point where like they were practically giving it away. But I mean, like the thing is like people. I mean, it's hard to break out of that habit. Now, Nintendo could charge a lot if they actually had a bundle that say had a lot of value to it. They're like, well, it comes with 3 games. It comes with the Pro controllers. It comes with this, that, and the other. Then you could say, well, that's a lot of stuff to have. I don't know. It could be. I have no idea. I don't know.
But at the same time, like these people are okay with paying $500 for an Xbox with no game, $400 for a PS4 with no game. But Nintendo has to release a bundle, and you still don't think it's a viable purchase. Like I remember people saying that, man, I do want a Wii U, I want to play Bayonetta and stuff like that, blah blah blah. I just don't see myself spending, $300 for a Wii U. Like, well, hold on. Every Wii U comes with a game. Like, there was a Mario Kart bundle, there was a Smash Brothers bundle. If you bought one, last year or the year before, it was the Splatfest bundle. I mean, Splat Smash with the 2 games. They've had a Zelda Wind Waker bundle with the unique console design or whatever. Almost like every bundle they had, besides the one at launch, the white one, it's come with the game. So people are saying, "Oh, I can't buy, spend $300 on a Wii U." You're getting a $60 game with your Wii U. You didn't get shit with your PS4 at launch or your Xbox
Well,
One.
I mean,
You got just a console.
you got knack.
No, that shit did not. It did not come with knack. You
No,
can buy knack.
I'm being facetious. You're right. Like, here's the thing, okay? Typically speaking, Nintendo games do come with a game, and that's just every console has always typically come with it just came with the game. Like the original NES, Super Mario Brothers. Well, in Japan it was Super Mario Brothers. It was Gyromite Robot, but fuck that. In America, we had Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. With the SNES, it was Super Mario World. With the N64, it was Mario 64. GameCube. I think that was the first console that didn't launch with a game.
I don't think it launched with anything. No.
Yeah, it didn't launch with a game inherently, but the Wii Sports, the Wii U, Nintendo Land, and the Switch. I'm telling you, Nintendo is going to have a strong game at launch, and I think this goes back to your original topic of ukulele. I think Nintendo said, look, we need this thing to launch with a strong lineup. I think you guys can be a part of it. Cancel that one for, whatever, and put it on this. I'm not happy about it, but fuck it.
I can see that, and like I can say I didn't like it, but I understood. Business wise, I can understand. That's why I say I wasn't mad, but I didn't like it, so I would admit that. But anyone else want to comment on Nintendo having to be the most powerful but the cheapest console to be attractive?
Power. I don't think the thing is the power. back in the day, it was never really the thing that pulled people into having a console. You have,
Games.
it was the games. I mean, the PlayStation was much weaker than the 64, but they had the games, and same for the PS2. They had the games. They had the games that people wanted to play. That's what people should be thinking about. Like, again, if power is that much of an issue, why aren't these developers making games for GTX Titans? Those are the most powerful. That's the most powerful GPU you can get on the market.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
I tell you why.
Consumer wise, anyway.
Because that shit's not worthwhile. In the long run, it's not worthwhile. Because although I will admit that PCs are much more powerful than consoles will ever be, it's a fact. They really are. I have never taken away from PCs. But the people that keep saying or yelling PC master race and just get a PC, most of those people are hardcore. I hate even to use this designation, but just for lack of a better description, just hardcore gamers.
They're
The
PC
typical
gamers.
person that runs a PC, the typical person that has a PC is not really playing a AAA title on the computer. I know folks that have a $2,000 computer and all they play is some version of Candy Crush on Facebook.
No, that's just the typical PC game. This is the typical PC gamer. These are people that were swayed by PC. They were console gamers, and now they're PC gamers. It's not because these people aren't going to PC to play the PC exclusives. They're going to PC to play the better versions of the multiplex.
Exactly. Or I mean, because nowadays, except for strategy games, they really do not make games that are solely for PC. Like, everything is actually just kind of an extension of, whatever, and it's not good because, I mean, there are some genres that really you can only really do on PC. Like, first-person shooters really are best on a PC. Like, a first-person shooter, and the reason why is because you have the mouse and keyboard is really good for aiming, which is why the Wiimote really kind of spoiled a lot of PC gamers for PC, because the Wiimote is even better than a mouse and keyboard. The Wiimote nunchuck combination with motion control. And I don't care what anyone says, that still was fucking brilliant. The Wii is still fucking brilliant. And I don't want anyone, oh no, the Wii casualized the audience. A lot of the best version of Metroid Prime trilogy is the one with the Wii controls, because the Wiimote
all of
controls are awesome.
Well, anyone else before we close out? On the Nintendo having to be cheap but strong.
Cheap but strong? What's that?
Isn't that an oxymoron? Isn't that an oxymoron? Because, like, the more power you put in something, the more expensive the tech is.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, you're closing out now, Doc?
Wait, you can go ahead. I didn't know you stepped in me. I'm sorry.
No,
Everybody,
cool.
This is Ligra in Duo. What? One of the most feared bastards on YouTube.
Whatever. I basically just came from saying the same thing on another on a GL, basically. As we used to say, let go bay what the cuff. This year, I have to say, it's funny. The company that's been the most irrelevant of the gaming basically show people we weren't irrelevant, because they basically got Universal Studios. Now everybody's talking about the Steam part. They stepped into mobile really fully this year, and not only did they tiptoe with the Pokemon Go, they destroyed it with Super Mario Run. And then the biggest selling software of this year, Pokemon Sun and Moon. Outdid Call of Duty.
You know what's hilarious is that Nintendo broke the Android App Store with Pokemon and the Apple App Store with Mario.
Yep.
But they're irrelevant. They don't matter, y'all. They ain't shit.
Yep.
I mean, say they can't compete with Nintendo titles. Now it's mobile. Now it comes to mobile.
And that's just the thing. Like look, it boils down to the game. You'll never beat Nintendo with their first party IPs. You won't. Like, don't even try. Like Sony tried, Sega tried, but it didn't work.
But again, it was kind of funny to say this too, because it was like we was talking about that. Like, also in a list so far in this generation too, we were talking about this. Like, how come this one company took IPs from other companies and make them so relevant and so and true to their character, explain their story more than the people who owns their IP?
Yep. I feel like you're throwing pot shots at Capcom.
Ain't Capcom only. It was not Capcom only.
I mean, I know that, but I just feel like this is directed towards them. You okay, man?
Well, you got Capcom, then you have Sega.
And Cloud Strife in Final Fantasy VII.
And then you got Sega with
Sonic,
not Sonic, with not only Sonic, with Axel.
Oh yeah.
Shin, not Shin. I keep on saying Shinmore. I forgot the name for the kid.
The guy Ryu. I forgot.
Ryu. No,
Ryu from
Shenmue.
Shenmue,
yeah. He was in Project Cross Zone 2, and then you have Mega Man, of course, and Ryu, and all. I'm like, wow, they just take people stuff and just turn it into something really cool. So it's funny. And then this year, let's see what's gonna happen next year, because the get a trailer to Switch. People already done gone with the rumors back and forth saying they know everything to how powerful it is to whatever it is. And I did basically a video about it just a while ago, talking about I have the power on Friday, saying I don't want to be all negative all the time. I read an article from on geek.com from a guy named Tony Pascal, who I have to say, you know what? I'll shout out. I will props up people who did a good job on article, and he did a good job on that article. And you need to go check it out, because he basically understands what's rumors. And the one thing that I take key, two things I take key in the article that I brought up in there was, one, he said it's, you know what, even if he didn't use a Pascal or Maxwell, it makes it Maxwell and Pascal really, but he's like, when it comes to Nintendo games, they're the only company. The Switch is gonna do what it's supposed to do: make Nintendo game look good. That's all it is. And he was saying that when people were saying about it's more powerful than the PlayStation 4, and I basically stopped the video, and Doc knows this. I share this on Google Plus when I say, wait, the same PlayStation 4 Pro that I went to Sony.com and found out that they don't support 4K signals, which is the whole thing about the damn system.
That's the whole point. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Sony is known for, how can I put this delicately, lying and bullshitting people. Lying and bullshitting people. And here we go yet again, because here's the thing. Sony has great PR. They have a great PR department. They have to, because they do music and entertainment and shit like that. And that's important. But the problem with Sony is that, especially with their gaming, especially during the PS4 generation, it has not been delivering. Okay, it has not been delivering what they said it was going to deliver.
Well, I mean, again, you can go through Sony.com. That's why I got the news from. Not no IGN, not from GameSpot. Just like I did the same thing with Microsoft. I went to their website and they said it. And again, Dr. Fielder could back me up because he saw what I posted. So right now it's crazy. The bad part about this is I'm gonna leave it to my podcast at any end of this, yours, Doc. But it just, you know what? We got some good games and some bad games, and I'm just swear that one company was all the time said was irrelevant, but this year they have done stuff that the other companies have not done. Not knocking that the other companies ain't did something good this year either, but if you're as one person said, I wish I was irrelevant as Nintendo. Shit,
that would be great. I mean, I wish. Yeah, I really do wish I was as, oh man, to hell with these guys. F them. Really? Because they actually made money off their stuff. I know that's hard for people to understand, but they actually did make money off their stuff.
and a lot of money, including with that Super Mario run that made $5 million in 24 hours.
You know that don't count.
And you know what? Check this out, Liger. And this may be slightly off topic, but it's kind of related. Um, on someone else's post, someone made a comment regarding, various comments, regarding Nintendo and Sony and blah blah blah. This is the typical stuff you hear from the naysayers in the community. And I said, you do realize that like Sony is in tremendous debt. They lost so much on the PS3 and the PS4, although the console itself was being sold at a small profit when it launched. Once you factor in all the stuff with shipping it out and the advertising, and they're also paying for the third-party advertising in some cases, I said they're actually still selling at a loss. I even posted an article and let the guy know, like, look, even back in 2015, this console is being sold at a loss, both the Xbox One and PS4. And he said the Wii U's been sold at a loss. I said, no, it's not. Nintendo even said at launch it was profitable when being sold with just one game. And then a few months after that, it was profitable by itself a few months later.
And when you factor in the virtual console and like all the amiibos and all the extra stuff that goes along with the game, I mean, Nintendo's been making a bank off of both the Wii U and the 3DS. I mean,
but his claim was that they have lost a lot of money with the Wii U. I say, dude, let me tell you something. I said the Wii U has been making more money than both the Xbox One and PS4 combined. I said, let me show you why. And I linked the article that showed that the Xbox One's been sold at a loss since launch and still is as of 2015.
It's gotten worse.
And I said, and the PS4 was being sold at a loss and still was as of late 2015. I said, so if two people out of the three are selling their shit at a loss and the other company has been selling at a profit since it launched, that automatically lets you know it's doing better than both of them combined, because the other two are losing money while they are gaining money. I thought that was common sense. And then he, of course, linked the article that says that Nintendo loses $20 million or some crap. I say, dude, that's a loss of profits. That's not them taking a loss in the red. He said, well, it's all R&D. I'm like, the only R&D there was prior to the system launching. But the R&D wouldn't bleed over into 2014. There was no R&D being done on a Wii U at that point.
No, that was the launched. That was the switch. And the thing is like, okay, profit loss just means you didn't make as much
money as you projected, or as last year.
If you projected to make, I thought I was going to make 13 million, and I only made 10 million. You have a profit loss of 3 million. That doesn't mean you lost money. It just means you didn't make as much money as you wanted. Now, if it says that you are carrying a debt of 20 million and you made a profit of 13 million, then that means that even though you made 13 million, you're 7 million in the red because your debt overrode your profit.
And I pointed this out. I put up an article where it was like Sony's financial statement that says their debt was about $10 billion for like the PS4 or whatever. It's like there was a debt. I'm like, okay, here's an article that shows this, and I even posted it. I linked them to the Nintendo IRA pages that shows the last 5 years. I say, now look at this. They have made profit every single year. They're not in the red. The only thing that I will say is that they did in some way, and sometimes they made less profit than they did the last year before, but they still made profit.
The only time.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Nobody hear you in a while, so go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think for the PS4, though, just a heads up, I may have misread or whatever, but I think before the PS4 was launched, or right before it was launched, some guy, I think some top guy from PS4 was in an interview, and he stated that the only reason why the PS4 was going to be sold at profit or whatever was because of PS Plus. I had to find an article, but I think that's why it did sell at a profit. It was because of PS Plus or whatever description, and that's the only reason why it was selling at a profit.
Because it was now required, because now you have to pay for online.
But that's why they were selling at a profit for PS4 was because of PS Plus, not because they was of whatever.
And even then, that's not really. That's because there are some people that don't use PS4s.
Yeah.
I don't.
Like, I mean, so even then, it's not really. Oh man, this is really gonna bring everything together for Sony. I mean, what
No.
would have brought it together for Sony is if they had not come out with the PS4 Pro and actually put that money, those millions of dollars they put developing that shit into maybe some first party games and sold those. Maybe not AAA, maybe one AAA and the rest would be like mid-tier games that are exclusive for that system. That would sell 1 million and make them back maybe 30, 40 million. If they had 8 or 9 games that they made for a small amount and basically made them back 30, 40 million each, plus one AAA that made them back maybe like 100, 120 million, Sony would be in a good shape for the for the Sony Entertainment division. But Sony doesn't think like that because Sony's not a gaming company.
I'll add on to what Red just said. If the money they put in the Slim, that's no problem. Put in the Slim because they mostly done it many times. But the Pro and how the Pro now has its own problems now and is not doing what it's stated to do in majority of cases, it's a waste of money.
And guess what, Liger? Now to curb the argument in his favor, which was stupid. I had not knew about this. The guy was extremely confident, but then he posted this link that says, "How was the PS4 7 a loss when they announced this?" And he linked the article that says that the PlayStation division is responsible for 70% of Sony's profits. I'm like, first of all, that's a percentage. I say, but even if you are making money, saying that one portion accounts for 7% that doesn't mean you're out of debt. Like, say for example, Sony made $100 million as a whole, as a company. If the PS division made 70 million of that doesn't mean they're out of debt. That doesn't mean they're making a whole bunch of money. It just means one division accounted for most of their profit. That makes the company look bad because Sony does a whole bunch of shit. Exactly. And you need to tell me that your gaming division, which is but still, it makes most of your money. What about the movies, your music, and all your other shit? That means that kind of tanked.
Exactly.
But
which actually, believe it or not,
I'm thinking like,
that
no,
happened.
It is not. That's terrible.
Their movie division this year did not do too well. So, I mean, like, there are good years and there are bad years. But the thing is just like Sony. Like, people need to understand this, okay? Like, gamers who are like, oh man, Sony is not in the best of shape. They're doing better than they were.
Fine, they're making more money than Nintendo right now.
Okay, yeah.
And then of course I brought up the whole attach rate, and I said, dude, the Wii U has basically the highest attach rate this generation, and the second highest in history because the GameCube was about a little bit over 10. And then he says, well, the PS4 has sold 50 million units, and Sony has announced that they sold 369 million units of software. So that means they're 7.11, while the Wii U is 6.9. I say, okay, but where is this? I say, but why doesn't it say Sony sold 370 million units of software on their IR pages? Because I didn't see that. They announced this, but that wasn't shown on their IR pages. But on Nintendo's IR pages, the first thing that shows up is Wii U sold this, 3DS sold this, Wii U software, 3DS software, point blank period. Sony's IR pages, that shit's not on there.
Or
this
they bury it
that they made
deep that you can't even find it.
And it's like,
as they exclude the numbers, they're playing their word playing with the numbers.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's say it is slightly higher. If you have 50 million units sold, and a system that only has 13 million units has the same attach rate, that's actually very, very embarrassing.
Yeah, let's go ask Capcom about that attach rate and the install base. I mean, PlayStation, look, Street Fighter 4, according to some people's definition, is a console exclusive to the PS4, 5. That's a console exclusive. It's sold a little over Pokken Tournament. Okay, Pokken Tournament is on a system that has a little over 13 million units. That's fucking embarrassing. Okay, that the Premier 2D fighting game of gaming, period. Because Street Fighter is the premier 2D fighting game for
For the
gaming.
last 25, 30 years.
The latest iteration of that game has sold on par with a game for system that is in dead last. That's embarrassing. So, like I said, someone at Capcom needs to be fired. Someone needs to oh, your job is gone, man.
But like I said, this guy, we went back and forth for a while. Like I said, I did not disrespect him in any kind of way, but to me it was just kind of like you seem to be really, really adamant about proving that Sony is doing better than Nintendo. But yet, this is the same Sony that just 2 years ago said they were in 2014. This is like mid 2014. We're projecting a $2 billion loss. And then his response was, "Can you get something more recent than that?" That was years ago. I said, "Dude, first of all, it was 2 years ago, and they made this announcement in the middle of 2014, and they used the word projecting. That means this was leading into the year 2015. So you mean 1 year ago, essentially, after it was all said and done for that fiscal year, they were pretty much $2 billion in the hole."
Essentially.
That's still bad. When has Nintendo said, "Oh man, we lost $2 billion"? No. All Nintendo said is, "You know what? Last year we made $300 million in the first quarter. This time we only made $200 million in the first quarter." That's a loss of profits. That's not them taking. That's not them going in a negative.
Yeah. That's not them taking a hit. That just means they made less than they wanted. That's all that means. And I mean, here's the thing: you can't always be on top. I don't know why people think that every gaming system is gonna always be on top. They're not. I mean, there was a time when PlayStation was king. PS4 proved PlayStation is not PS4. PS3 proved that PlayStation is not king. The PS3 was a failure that Sony still has not really rebounded from.
No, not at all. And I like this system. Don't be wrong. They had a lot of exclusives on the system, but I like the system. But that system lost them $1 billion in the first 9 months. They were losing $250 per console the day it launched for the first year. $250 per console sold. They were losing. It cost them $850 to make it, and they sold it for $600. That's a huge loss.
And then billions after that. I mean, people don't talk about that. Oh no, well, it doesn't matter because it's Sony. No one cares. Sony's perfect. Sony never makes any errors.
That doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, but hey, as I stated, I didn't disrespect the guy, but some people do feel that like Sony is on top. It's like sales are good. I'm not denying that sales are good. But let's say I make a sandwich and all the ingredients and my time and effort put into it costs me $5 per sandwich, and I sell that sandwich for $1. Although I may sell 100 million of them, guess what? I'm losing $4 per sandwich. So that means although I got the mind share, I'm broke and bankrupt.
Yep.
Is that really
that makes sense?
I mean,
I've told you, man. Stop making
this decision. And this is not me being a Nintendo fanboy and saying that the Wii U is on top. I'll admit the Wii U, it didn't sell as well as it should have. I will admit that. I still love my console. I think it's worth every bit of $350 that I spent on it. Yes, I said $350, the launch price. I think it's worth every bit. But I do not think the PS4 is worth more than $250. And I mean that with confidence. I do not believe the Xbox One was worth more than $300 because I got the 1 terabyte S. But still, I think my Wii U was worth every damn penny, and I've invested well over $2,000 into it in games. So, I got games for my I think I already got like 15 games for my Xbox One and about 5 or 6 for my PS4. So, I got all the systems, and I'm happy with them all in one way or another. But nonsense. And then they bring up sorry links trying to prove it. And to me, that's even more embarrassing. It's like, come on. I love how you are. I guess you're up to speed on games, but you are definitely not wise when it comes to business
Nope.
and how a business works.
Guys are-
So, yeah,
And
yeah.
if you talk about
your favorite
business, they
company is
get mad.
winning the war, but it's losing money.
It's losing. It's winning. It's winning the battle, but losing the war. Like that's what people don't understand about Sony's PlayStation division. Yes, it's selling very well. They aren't making that much money off of it. And with the other shit that they're losing money on, it's really not really like if you like I've given people this analogy before. If you think that Sony's PlayStation is going to single-handedly keep Sony from hemorrhaging the money it's been hemorrhaging, keep on waiting because you're going to be looking at a long time.
I can't remember who said it, but I remember somebody saying Nintendo should do what Microsoft or Sony, whatever it is. I can't remember.
I think OJ.
They were saying they should do what they do, even though they're losing a lot of money and they haven't made any profit. They should do what they do because it pleases the gamer or whatever.
Let me help you out. Hey, let me help you out with something. A story that just came out now, and I gotta let me help you out with something. And this is why I say you don't be analyst if you don't know things. Let me help you with something right now. There's a story now that just came out because of Super Mario Run, even though it's a success on the App Store. The stock for Nintendo just dropped 5%. All right, 5%. Mm-hmm. So. And of course, everybody report and say that. That's all. Okay, I just saw it on Google Plus and said, okay, let me take a look into this. So they lost 5% of this. Basically, they lost 4%. Okay, it went back up. So they lost 4%, and then the market closed, whatever. So can anybody? And then you go with Sony. So you go into what you guys just talk about, and this is why I said people don't go beyond the glimpse or whatever. So I'm looking at it right now. You can go to google.com and check the stock prices if you don't believe me. But Sony, now they lost. Oops, I put the wrong thing here because I want to make sure. Okay, so Sony at their own lost 1.4%, right? And people will say, "Wow, okay, Sony just lost 1% while Nintendo lost 4%." They're like, of course, because Sony got all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Okay, the stock prices for Sony stocks, though, is $28.44 per share.
All right.
What do you think? So to make it that, but what do you think is this? So you would think, okay, well, Sony's a bigger company and blah, 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 as you just said, the other guy was saying. So what would you think is the share for Nintendo?
Lower.
Aren't their shares like in the 60s, 70s, something like that? If I remember.
$214.
Oh, good God Almighty! This is the stock exchange, or is this for the like in Japan?
This is the stock exchange. This is stock exchange in Japan.
Oh,
Nikkei.
Shit. Yeah. Because the stocks we have here are like cut up and divided into.
No, this is Nikkei.
Things.
This is I'm changing. I'm doing the currency exchange from Nikkei to US dollars.
And plus on
they
top
have
of
a
that,
higher value.
and plus on top of that, and Sony's stock like status is considered junk.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of money.
Anyone listening can look that up. If you look up Sony, type in Google Sony junk status, and you'll find 3 or 4 articles that say their stock is literally, as far as status level, is junk status.
Okay, but my point.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I got you. I'm just thinking how it's $28. You lose 1%. That's more different. That's more damaging than $214. And this is after the loss. This is not before. This is after the loss. If you want to add it before the loss, the 4% came out to be like $10 and a couple cents. So it came out to be So basically, it was 224. So,
oh god.
So it's weird how we pick and choose our news is, but you know, like I told Jay on Games of Lodge, he said a what the cuff moment, and I basically listed off. And the one thing that's the top of the list still is game media, getting rumors and everything, and game media still sucks at reporting the right thing.
Well,
And not even that, dude, but what gets to me is that these gamers would choose, like you said, they pick and choose. Like for example, when you tell them about attach rates, like, oh yeah, the Wii U, you know, it has almost 7 games per console, while the Xbox One is 4 games. It's like 300 pieces, 300 million, pieces of software. It's like at that point, percentages don't matter. But now it's like, oh, well, Sony lost 1.1%, while Nintendo lost 4%. So Sony's doing a lot better. It's like, well, so now percentages matter. They matter now.
It always
but
goes.
Before.
No, but it always goes to what I always say when you talk about sales. I know when I was on the podcast with Grim Kapachi was on my podcast. I talk about sales. I do that. I know that. But I don't talk about sales willy-nilly. I put context to my shit. So you understand. You got the Lehman term of simply, okay, you lost percentage, because I always tell people this when they always say, oh, we lose and even Nintendo did this thing when I did last year when they had this stock, like Nintendo lost this percentage or they gained 660% of what. You need to know the number, that's the base to say what is it good or bad? Because remember, if you sold 1 console and you sold 2, well, I just sold 100%. I got 100% raise.
Exactly.
And that's nothing.
One thing is, Sony does that, and Sony and Microsoft do that shit a lot.
Yep.
Like when the numbers are really, really good, that's when Sony and Microsoft would come out and say, "Oh, well, we sold X amount of hundreds of thousands of consoles." But if the numbers are not that great, Microsoft would just say, "We had a good Christmas." What the? Okay, what does good mean? Good in terms of you sold 10 more consoles than you did last Christmas, or did you sell 10 times more? See, when the numbers are really good, that's when they give you the context. But when they're not good, they're vague as shit.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like how, remember, Microsoft was like, oh, we're not going to tell you the sales data of the Xbox One. That's when everyone should have said the Xbox One is not doing very well. Because normally Microsoft loves to talk about, yeah, we're the #1 system seller, this, blah, 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 blah. We did this. And
hey, don't forget, we have over 100 exclusives.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, don't get me started with that. The only console that's backwards compatible. Bullshit.
Like, it's funny how people really do flip-flop when just to curve an argument in their favor. So look, I'm not trying to curve an argument in my favor. I'm just mentioning facts. I don't care if it plays in my favor or not. I will mention facts. If I mention something I'm wrong and you tell me I'm wrong, I'm cool with that. I'm not going to call you a bitch or fanboy or weetard or whatever. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But a lot of people on YouTube, either they make these bogus ass claims and say, oh, well, the Wii U didn't sell well. Define well. Because to me, if you make a profit on every console, yeah, you didn't get the high numbers you wanted, but I'm pretty sure your pocketbook says, I'm glad I'm constantly growing. I'm glad I'm not losing weight in the bank. And just like when Sony came out with the whole bullshit of when Nintendo released Pokemon Go and their stocks shot up, the value of the company shot through the roof. And then people said, well, oh, Nintendo didn't make Pokemon Go? Well, we're going to sell our shit. And then they found out that Nintendo owns like 30 or 40% of the Pokemon company. So it's like, you dumbasses. Like,
they still got paid.
They still got paid, but it's still like, you made Nintendo that dumbass decision based on that.
Their dividends are going to be really good that year, this year.
Let's put it this way: if you have stock in Pokemon Company, oh yeah, you will make some good money this year. They made $2 billion last year. And that's when they didn't have nothing.
And they didn't do shit. Like literally last year, the Pokemon Company was just some dude sitting on the couch looking at TV. And this year they released Pokemon Sun and Moon, which I mean, I'll keep it real, they're okay.
They're the best. They got Pokemon Sun and Moon, the best selling game. Then they released.
No, and they're the best selling Pokemon game.
You got red, yellow, and blue. They released on Virtual Console. They got a Pokemon tournament. They got a Pokemon tournament, card tournament. This because it's the whole 20th anniversary. They have they put out special design cards. They put out Pokken. I mean, this year they freaking killed it.
They killed it.
If you got stocks in the Pokemon company, you making money.
Let's put it this way: Pokemon prints money. It's like that old thing that people like to do. It prints money. Pokemon prints money. Okay, it's a very valuable IP. And here's the thing: you'll never see a Pokemon game, at least unless something catastrophic happens. You'll never see a Pokemon game on a third-party console. So, let's keep it real. PlayStation and Xbox are third-party consoles at this point. You'll never see Pokemon on a third-party console. So if you want to get that shit, you better own a Nintendo, whatever the fuck they want to call it. Okay?
Exactly.
Or basically step up to mobile and you play your little happy fun because between Pokemon Go and all that stuff, man, they killed it this year. They did.
Yeah, it did. And I even told this guy, I was like, dude, so the articles you're posting are, someone will link to GameSpot, IGN, and they do post reputable shit sometimes. Sometimes it's rare, but it happens. But my thing was this, and I told him, I said, so you're posting articles from that are tied to companies that have been following a specific narrative for years now, and each one of these sites, at least twice a year, says Nintendo is doomed, and yet this company is still around despite all these articles, which you claim are factual. Every website has said Nintendo is doomed. And yet here and every year, Nintendo does something that makes a lot of money. So even when the Wii U wasn't selling, when Amiibo launched, shit, the pocketbooks got flooded. So even when the Wii U wasn't doing as well as people thought it should do, a Wii U's not making the money. Okay, even if it was not, Amiibo sold in gangbusters. And even this year, when the Wii U has no games coming out, Pokemon Go came out, Sun and Moon came out.
And even then, I mean, they've got, here's the thing. Nintendo has always had their backup. Their backup is their handheld. And, I mean, even if their home console sells like shit, you're never going to beat a Nintendo handheld.
And then even when it comes to, last year, 2015, you could say Nintendo didn't have many games released last year. Splatoon tore that shit up, though. I mean, every time they announce a loss, it's like, oh, guys, if you think about what Nintendo is selling, every year they have something that drops, that hits headlines, and is making them so much money, it's ridiculous. Splatoon sold well. Pokemon Go broke shit. Super Mario Run broke shit. Sun and Moon, they make it's record-setting numbers. It's like, come on now. If Nintendo is doomed, why is it they making so much money?
Because they're doomed.
I wish I even had just a few hundred shares in Nintendo right now. Just a few hundred. I mean, who the hell wants to invest in Sony at this point? I'll wait.
I mean, maybe Bill Gates.
I mean, is anyone here wanting to invest in the Xbox division right now?
Like I said, maybe Bill Gates.
But hey, and like you said this in other podcasts, where are the big headlines for these announcements? Like with Sun and Moon, what was the big headline that they've moved so many million units? This is the fastest selling Pokemon game of all time. Blah blah blah. Like,
well,
where was the headline at?
There were some headlines, but it wasn't like it's not like how they crow about Sony and Microsoft. But here's the difference. If you went to various websites that normally report gaming news, you didn't see Pokemon Sun and Moon splattered all over their web pages. Whenever Sony and Microsoft launch something, they write a big fat check to IGN and GameSpot and all those people, and they get paid to say, man, the PSVR is already profitable. Really?
No, it's not.
Seriously? Really?
I'm sorry, man. Every time I step into Best Buy, I see the same identical mountain of PS4 Pros.
I'm sorry. The bullshit is too strong. It's I'm like a Jedi sensing the dark side of the Force. It's like this bullshit too strong.
You know what I see on YouTube sometimes? I've seen a few people or a few articles where they say PSVR and PS4 Pro off to a good start. Okay, give me some context. Because off to a good start, that don't mean shit to me. You could be happy this shit's selling, period. That's your distinction. I need to know what off to a good start means in quantitative terms.
Well, I mean, it's a product. It's out. Some people are buying it. I guess that's a good start.
You know what's so funny? I know a lot of people on Google Plus, and I have a lot of friends. And I have not heard a single one of them say that, man, this PlayStation VR was a shit, or man, I'm enjoying my PS4 Pro. I've not heard a single one.
You want to hear a funny story about
Yes.
the PSVR? Okay, so I was standing in line to buy a game at a store, and the customer in front of me was talking to the desk clerk about this VR thing they heard. Like, what VR things can I get here? And like, well, the big thing right now is, or the big one and the most affordable one is PSVR. And she's like, oh, how much does that cost? And the guy's like, oh, $400 for the headset alone. She's like, oh, what do you mean by that? It's like, oh, well, if you want the entire thing, you have to buy the console. You have to have the console already, which can run you at $250 to $300. And he's like, well, you're gonna need the Move controllers, and you're gonna need the camera, and those could, like, the Move controllers run for about $100, and the camera's about $50. And she's like, oh, so it's not really $400. It's more like $800 to $1,000. He's like, yeah. She's like, oh, well,
fuck that.
no, thank you. Like, yeah, he's like, yeah, it's not really like that affordable for like mainstream yet. It's like maybe 2, 3, 5 years, maybe you should get it, but not right now.
But it's not even the best VR out there.
Look,
No.
I'll tell you the best VR.
When the most consumer-friendly VR runs to like, if you want to just start out with, like, you don't have any consoles whatsoever, and when the most affordable VR is $1,000, then I don't like if that's the most consumer-friendly.
Look, I know a VR that's absolutely affordable. It's free. Here's what you do: you go outside, and then that's virtual reality.
Basically reality.
Yeah, but I mean, it's virtual in that you're perceiving it with your eyes. Like, you can literally reach out and touch things and grab things. I'm telling you. And here's the thing: it's absolutely free. As long as you're alive, you can experience real virtual reality. It's almost like you're there.
And you know what's funny? I'm
sorry.
And people, and I'm pretty sure you guys know about this, but there are still select YouTubers out there, which I'm not sure they believe the bullshit that they're spitting, or that they just really are that fucking stupid. But they're still saying that the PS4 Pro has native 4K gaming.
No.
And I'm thinking to myself, dude, right now, there is only one native 4K game being developed, and that's Star Citizen on PC.
And here's the kicker. It's on PC.
And
it's not on the console.
It's the only one that I've read up on that they say is actually being developed in native 4K. And then, of course, you got EA announcing that FIFA 17, when you play it in 4K mode, I said that's not native 4K. Nope. I said they never said that was native 4K in any article. They said you can play in 4K, but they never said this is native 4K. It's being upscaled, but people are actually like bragging like, oh man, like the 4K is when I'm like, that's not native 4K. You cannot be this.
Now you feel how I feel when I'm talking to these trolls with Mr. Me. I specifically said native, but they keep on saying 4K. I say native. If you're gonna produce native, the definition of the word means produced in, and there's no assets out there that's producing. There's no game out there that's produced fully in 4K. Do they have some games that have assets of it? Yes, but not all the assets. No,
and And the only system, quote unquote, platform that's going to have the platform that's going to have 4K gaming first is going to be a PC. So you want real 4K gaming, your ass is going to have to spring for a gaming PC. And gaming PCs are expensive. I mean, if you want to have a PC that can do real 4K gaming, you're going to have to spend on the memory card alone. Even if you go with the more budget option of an AMD card, or something more budget, you're going to spend at least $250 to $300 or more. Okay, so basically, you're going to essentially buy a video game console, because essentially a good graphics card is about what you spend on a gaming console.
Yeah, I would say that.
Basically.
And I tell all the people, all the viewers out there, and anyone that ends up watching this, do this, like, seriously, this is all I have to do. Do a few simple searches, maybe even just one. Type in native 4K gaming. And I'm telling you, the only one that will come up that fits that exact description is Star Citizen. And you can read the article about it. But type in native 4K gaming for a console, and almost every article will say upscale, or they won't say native, it'll just say 4K gaming, but it would never say native. Or they'll say some shit like, well, the PS4 Pro plays the game, upscales at 4K natively. That means the system is upscaling. That's what the system is out upscaling that signal into 4K, and it's done.
Wait, hold on. You just said a phrase that don't make no sense right there. And I hope that if somebody said that would be stupid. How you upscale to native?
No, dude, there is actually someone that wrote an article out there that said the PS4 plays it upscales games to native 4K. I'm not shitting you. Listen. I knew what they were trying to say. They were trying to say that basically the system outputs it in 4K through upscaling. But they're trying to make it sound as though that what it does is it plays native 4K games. That's not the case. The system does natively output it in 4K, but the game that you're playing was not designed in 4K. Therefore, the game is being upscaled.
Yep. And if you
the article actually said the system actually runs the game natively at 4K.
It cannot run something natively if it was never produced natively.
Exactly. I agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you. But I knew they were trying to use semantics to make people think it was native 4K. It's like saying I can natively eat a sandwich. I can eat a sandwich in my house. It doesn't mean it was made in my house. That's the thing. That's all it's doing. That when they say that, people, what they're trying to tell you is, and they don't want to say it because they don't want to discourage you, because this is what they promote the system on. The games, no console game today is developing a resolution higher than 1080p. Some may even want to say, like, I think, what was it, Uncharted running at 1440p or whatever.
You could render the games, but it's not in the assets.
The game, when they developed the game, when they were developing the game, they were not using
4K or 2K.
They were not using they were not using what was it, like 8 million pixels for 4K. They weren't using 8 million pixels per frame to make this game.
Now they may have used higher resolution textures in certain parts of the game to make things look better, kind of like how certain games will use certain texture packs to make stuff look like prettier, but that doesn't mean that the game is higher resolution.
So people, in other words, what we're saying is this: if you take a picture with the Polaroid camera, that is a small that's a small picture. Now, if you stretch that image, if you take that picture and you stretch it out, you can add in pixels all you want, but natively, that was a small ass 3x4 from a Polaroid camera. So you can't say that was natively an 8x10 if you stretch it 8x10. It wasn't natively that. It was originally a damn Polaroid picture. You can blow it up all the hell you want and add effects to it, but originally it was a smaller picture. So when they say native 4K, they mean the game was originally made in 4K from the get-go. Not that, oh, it was 1080p, but we add more assets while you're playing the game to make it 4K. That's still not true 4K, because They're adding pixels and colors that were not there when the game was created. So they're doubling the lines of resolutions they're adding shit there that wasn't there originally. Period. So that's all we're saying. I'm not saying the system's not outputting things at a high resolution. I'm not even saying that it's not pushing shit out of 4K. I'm saying that the games it's playing were not made in 4K, so that's not true 4K. It's not. It's just adding the information there to make it a bigger, more high quality image. But to me, it's not even doing that shit right. Because even when people try to do shit in the upscale 4K, all the games are experiencing problems.
Or the games are so large that you need like a 2, 4, 6 terabyte hard drive to have more than 3 or 4 games.
No, 500 is enough. It's better than 32.
On a
Oh,
console.
Perry friend, UBS. I like how you because I saw your post, Perry friend, smart ass.
and you know what though, like honestly, I challenge you, like if you get a chance, look it up, type in FIFA 17 in 4K, and you should come across an article that says the PS4 plays the game natively in 4K. I shit you not. When I saw that, I said, hold on,
You ain't gotta tell me that. I know. You should know out of anybody. I know there's no game that's being produced in native 4K. 1 and 2. Again, that's one of the things we have to. We talked. Kanoshi know about it. We talked about this yesterday on the off-air chat. Gamers, Americans, but mostly gamers too. They take words and make it to something else. It does not. The definition don't. Whatever gimmick is not a bad word, but they turn it into a bad word. If you break down all these simple words, they want to give it a negative connotation. Go right ahead, it doesn't bother me. You're a fanboy, whatever, doesn't think. But these people, like I said, that's what I specifically said native in my argument with the people who troll me. I said native. Oh, you can render 4K. You can't render 4K native. No, you can render 4K. Do you not hear the word native? That's all I said. You jumping over that one word. There's no game right now is getting produced outside of a demo or whatever because asset is too expensive to do that. And the next thing is I bought me a brand new phone, upgraded. And Dr. Feelgood knows this. I basically did a video and I ran a video to see in 4K to capture the stuff in 4K, and it's being decoded down, of course. And the thing, it was 9 minutes, and it was like 9 minutes. It was like 2-3 gigs. I'm like, well, basically, like, I think it was 2.8 gigs, just for 9 minutes of video watching it. And now it was detailed. It looks pretty cool on my TV and everything. It does, but I'm like, that's just video,
and that's compressed.
And that's compressed at 2.6 gigs. You ain't doing input, you're not doing AI, you're not doing dramatic lighting, illumination, all that stuff. You kidding me? No. Now, can you put in 4 assets in games? Yes. Example.
That's example. You know what's worse? And what was worse? That wasn't even 60 frames per second. It was probably more like 15 to 30.
What, the video I did?
Yeah.
No, the phone kicked it. It could do 30. It could do 30 and 60, but it does still take. Yeah.
And people think that, that even the Scorpio's gonna give us 4K gaming. I say, even if it does, it won't be 60 frames per second on anything.
First of all,
because I can tell you right now, even the TVs, I'm a home theater expert, have been for over 10 years. Even the TVs you find in stores now, very, very few of them have enough processing power to truly process that 4K imaging to at a point where it's beyond 30 frames per second. And even when you see a TV that says 4K and it says 120, refresh rate, 120 hertz refresh rate, when you output in 4K, that 120 doesn't give you the same. It doesn't give you the 60 frames per second as it would on 1080p. It gives you 30. So it's like you bought either a 1080p 120 hertz television or a 4K at 60 hertz. But the 120 hertz can't handle that information as fast as would for 4K as fast as it would for a 1080p. It can't do it because you're using 4 times resolution now. that the TV doesn't have the processing power to do that at the same frame rate. And most of them, you have to get like a really good 4K television. It ain't got to be $12,000, but there are some out there that are probably around $2,000 to $3,000 that have a great processor built into them, and they can really output 4K, at 30 frames per second or higher. They really can.
But even then,
Okay.
the content coming to that TV is not going to be 4K. It's being
Exactly.
upgraded because no one's making content that's using 4K assets. I mean, for the whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah.
From the ground up 4K. Now, does that mean that there aren't games? Like, okay, I recently got Skyrim Special Edition because I had the game before, and they just gave it for free to people. Like, I mean, yeah, there's certain textures in the game that look really great because they used better resolution. But that doesn't mean every single thing in the game is higher resolution, because if it was, the game would be 60, 80 gigs. And the fact of the matter is that even people are like, well, the Scorpio is going to have real 4K. No, it isn't. Because if it did, the Scorpio would have to have a hard drive that's like 6 terabytes. And no one, even now, a 6 terabyte hard drive would be prohibitively expensive for a console. That would raise the price from, let's say, $400, $500 to like you spend $800 on that console. And let's go ask the last people that were selling $800 consoles how those consoles did.
And on top of that, people really need to stop and think for a moment. All right, how important is 4K? And how likely are we to actually get that when we haven't even mastered 1080p 60 on a consistent basis across all games? Even network media, meaning cable and satellite. Guess what? There are still some standard definition TV stations out there. Cable networks, SD. And most high definition channels, guess what? They're in 720p, not 1080p. Most of them are 720p.
Yeah.
And
so you mean to tell me that gaming is going to jump ahead of network television just like that? No, buddy. No. Because I don't care what you say. I don't care how popular gaming has become. Gaming is not more popular than television. It's not. Because not everyone games. So in that case, TV is going to always be the common denominator medium. And basically, nothing's going to go past television. So you know who got 4K first, or who will get 4K content? Who has? Television. It's going to be compressed.
Television, then internet stuff, and then last, internet videos and streaming shit like that.
Well, basically, it goes opposite what you just said. It's internet video first, then television.
Then television. Well, okay.
Yeah, because you got Amazon, you got YouTube.
Yeah, but even then, it's going to be very specialized.
If you have the bandwidth and the power to do it, but what I'm saying is the product is there. You can do it. You listen to YouTube right now. You can go and put your 4K set if you have a 4K TV or a monitor that could accept it. So you have that, and it's produced native in that because they're shooting it in that regard. But the show's gonna be more popular, as you guys explain. I'm not going against it. I'm just saying that's what's gonna be. The TV is gonna be what makes it more prevalent around the whole nation or basically the world.
And what I don't understand, and this is so ass backwards, it's funny how gamers will take the word of other gamers, other people, that people don't even really care about gaming and have admitted as such. But when a developer comes out and says, yeah, there are no 4K games, and the soonest we'll get native 4K gaming is about 5 to 10 years from now. No one believed his ass. We did, because we have common sense. But no one believed his ass. A developer has come out and said there will not be 4K gaming, not native 4K gaming, for at least a good 5 to 10 years. And this was said sometime last year. And yet, all of a sudden, PS4 Pro is 4K gaming. Bullshit. I knew that from the jump. Okay, the regular PS4, not even its exclusives don't always hit 1080p 60. Most of its exclusives are 1080p 30.
And with variable frame rates depending on
exactly. So it's like, okay, they can't even get a lock 1080 30 on every single game. Even on lower end games, you can't even get a lock 60 1080p on most of your games. But all of a sudden, with the extra processor, in which you couldn't even obtain 1080p 60 consistently, now you can ignore getting that consistency, and now you can offer 4K consistently. People, does that make sense? That's
No,
like claiming you can make a sandwich without bread. I'm sorry.
Well, you can. It's called a wrap, but that is not a sandwich. That is a wrap.
Exactly. It's also bullshit.
No, look, listen. As a foodie, wraps are delicious, but
I will say this: you cannot claim to fly until you first crawl and walk. So basically, the PlayStation is crawling. They started to stumble a bit, and now they're claiming to be able to fly when they can't even walk straight. That's what I'm saying, and people believe it.
well,
I have seen videos of popular YouTubers actually spreading the narrative that, oh yeah, Forza native 4K, FIFA 17 native 4K. Oh, it's so great. HDR looks so good on my 1080p TV. I'm like, well, hold on, that's a lie, because no 1080p television has HDR. So, and to me, that's some other bullshit. And like I think we touched on this before. When they announced they were pushing out HDR to all their regular PS4s, HDR is only available on 4K televisions. And it's not every 4K television. It's some of the upper echelon ones. So, and it's for 4K.
Are you
So how can a system that's not capable of 4K generate a 4K feature?
Well, I want to say I will stop you right there on one thing. You can't get a 1080p HDR TV.
Really? Because I have not seen a single one.
Vizio has a couple, and yeah, because it's what we had. I had Samsung also as well, and depending on what the lighting is. But I was gonna say like shoot, what's that? What's that? When PlayStation acquisition. When I had him on the podcast, we would talk about that. Like they basically split up the difference to make sure because these are companies. They just want to make sure they're gonna give a gimmick, good or bad, so you can make sure that you can have we call it, so they could sell more products. Ain't gotta do nothing with with making sure everything is the same way. Now they just do it just for the reason so they could sell products. Just like how you sell a PlayStation VR, but you didn't tell everybody all about. Well, you can do this, and then you gotta buy this extra TV with this and all that other stuff with it.
There's a lot of caveats attached to PlayStation VR. There's a lot of extra shit that you have to have in order to get it to really be optimized, which kind of defeats the purpose of having something. But whatever.
Speaking of VR, how much did Sony spend, or does anybody know how much Sony?
Ain't gonna tell you shit
for that.
No.
If Sony was to admit that, man, they'd be admitting to their shareholders that they're up shit's creek.
They're gonna have to release it sometime.
Sony's
Yeah.
when it doesn't hurt them that. Sony is very fond of only telling people what they want to hear. But hey, Sony's going to be fine. Michael Pachter told us that.
that irrelevant jackass.
He's like, this is the dude who's like talking shit about Iwata. Oh man, Iwata doesn't know what he's talking about. Iwata is a bad leader for Nintendo. Yeah, well, at least he didn't run Nintendo into the ground like the senior executives of Sony.
Well,
who a lot of them are still there. They're still there running into the ground.
But listen, those that are watching, listen up. I know I may troll sometimes, but believe me, I'm not here to get you to buy exactly what I buy. In a sense, just like Liger, just like Mr. Red Fox, and even King Grimpachi, just try to talk some sense into you guys, because a lot of you people are the reason why we get this shitty stuff we get now. You really are, because you buy into shit with no research, and if you do research, your research is the word of another ill-informed gamer.
Yep.
Like, for example, I'm not taking advice from anyone on home theater unless they have more expertise than me. Hey, if you just bought your first 1080p television a year ago, why would I come to you for advice? And I've been doing this shit for 10 years. Why? Do that. I just
That
wouldn't
makes
do that.
no sense.
So if you are taking advice of a person that says, "Well, no, I don't buy Nintendo consoles because they didn't grow up with me," but this person say you don't buy Nintendo, well, how could you believe them? Because they haven't owned Nintendo consoles. They didn't own a GameCube. They didn't own a Wii. They didn't own a 64. So how could you trust their information regarding Nintendo consoles and their games when they don't buy them? Even a person says, "Well, I have a cousin that has it and I play their games." No, but you didn't own it. You can only truly know about something when you had truly been invested in it, or you've at least played their predecessors to some extent. Now, I admit I've talked a lot of shit about the PS4, and I still think overall it's a bullshit console. Overall, I do.
But you own it, and
I
you
own a
the
PS4
PS3,
Slim,
and you
but
own the
I can
PS.
say I've owned a PS1, 2, and 3. I still got every single one of them, and all of them are hooked up right now.
Yep, and it's like here's the thing. It's not that we like when you hear us talking shit about Sony. It's not like we just hate Sony. Look. I want Sony to do well. I really do want them to be what they used to be. But the thing is, like Sony just for some reason they just keep on fucking up. You know, I mean, it makes
true.
if Sony were a person, I would take them at back and I just gently slap them across the face. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What are you doing? Get it together. You're getting real sloppy.
I want them to go back to the drawing board and go back to being great again. I want them to go back to being original. Like you guys, okay, you had your Crash, you had your Gran Turismo, which they still have that, but that's falling behind Forza. They had a lot of great things, and although they were mostly a third-party console, even to begin with, at the end of the day, you still had a lot more exclusive, a lot more companies working with you. Naughty Dog included, Naughty Dog, Insomniac, many others, Psygnosis. I mean, come on. You guys,
I wish
you
Sony.
still focus on bullshit.
I wish Sony would stop being stupid and start putting like the PS4 Pro. Look, if you couldn't get the technology to do right, why'd you spend money on that? You should have. Why couldn't you spend that money on some good first party games? You know, I mean, and like I said, they didn't have to be AAA. It could have been AA or even single A or B. I mean, shit, anything.
I mean, it's not just Sony, it's Microsoft too. I own the original Xbox and the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One S. They are all hooked up right here, right now, directly in front of me. So even I shit on Microsoft's console. I think overall, they took a step backwards in a lot of ways when compared to the 360, but still, they do dumb shit. Nintendo takes a step backwards in a sense. I will admit, there were some things about the Wii U that I did not like. But I don't buy a console for features. I buy them for games. And game-wise, the Wii U is the winner by 6 fucking landslides. It's the winner. When you talk about great experiences, varied experiences across all genres, not just shooters, platformers, RPGs, any kind of game, period, 2D, 3D, old school, current gen, it doesn't matter. It has won in terms of games. Don't care what you say. You can say, but only sold 13 million. Don't give a shit. You tell me, I don't know anyone right now that owns 50 games on their PS4. And if you have your 50 games, feel free to write me a note on Google Plus. Post me. and I will give you one game. You know what? I will give
50
you
games physical, not just downloadable.
No. I give them one restriction. I'm gonna give them restriction. It cannot be multiple copies of Call of Duty. It cannot be multiple copies of Battlefield. So give me your PS4, Xbox One lineup. And please, don't give me 4 Assassin's Creeds. Don't give me Call. I want you to give me varied experiences across the board. Period. Give me that. And no, not indies. Not indies. Ori and the Blind Forest, that's actual retail release, even though an indie game, acceptable. But not some indie game you spent $2 on.
It's gotta be a substantial size game. It can't
Give
be
me
like
the list. You know what?
you know,
I'm gonna troll right now. 50 games that are not broken. not broken. So Assassin's Creed Unity is out of the picture. Master Chief Collection is out of the picture. Oh yeah, Battlefield 4 is gone. Kill them shits. Give me 50 games. Give me 50 games right now, not broken and not annual iterations. 50
Well,
games.
that's going to discount a lot of people. So I don't even know why you would even.
I'm just saying, because here's the thing. Even let's say a person's bought every Call of Duty and every Battlefield for one or even both of these consoles, you're still essentially only buying the same game, just a different coat of paint.
Just a
I can honestly
different
say I have
skin.
50 different games on this console because I don't think my Wii U. I don't think I have any sequels to games because there ain't no Mario Kart 8 sequel. There isn't a Splatoon sequel on it. I have Black Ops, but I didn't buy Ghosts, so I only got one Call of Duty game on my Wii U. But all my games that I have, they're singular experiences. I got Bayonetta 2, which came with Bayonetta 1, but still, other than that, they're all different, all singular experiences, no annual iterations, nothing. So anyone can give me a list of games that you got on your PS4.
Are you
Honestly,
issuing a challenge?
I'm issuing a challenge. 50 games. And it can't be don't give me your Advanced Warfare, your Black Ops 3, your Ghosts, and your Infinite Warfare and your Modern Warfare. Don't do that shit. No. One Call of Duty. That's it. Even though you may have bought the game, it's the same shit.
Just different skin.
Just different skin.
Not Call of Duty in space. Not Call of Duty. Uh,
Cause,
uh,
cause to me, buying 10 shooters, I don't care if they are different titles, they're all just fucking shooters, in my opinion. It
yeah,
may have a
you're
different
right.
name, different color paint. It's still a shooter. You know what I got on my Wii U? I got Devil Stirred, I got Splatoon, and I got Black Ops. Those are my three shooters, and all those play vastly different.
You've got
So
three
yeah,
different RPGs. I mean, I have to admit, I have to agree with Doc. In terms of just games, like I said, the Wii U is the only gaming console of the eighth gen. Because Sony and Microsoft's consoles, like they're multimedia centers that also happen to play games. Like, oh well, this also it's kind of like what the Philips CDI. Remember back in the day, they're like you can watch CDs. I mean, you can play your CDs, listen to your music, but it also plays games. It was like that seems so unappealing to me back in the day, but now we're living in it. Ugh.
well, does anyone have anything else they want to talk about before we go ahead and end this?
Yeah,
No, that's it.
the Nintendo Switch and the NES Classic are the top searched items over VR.
Oh,
Nobody
shut the
cares.
hell up, Kenoshi.
Nobody cares about VR. Nobody. Dead on
how
arrival.
you gonna troll before we even give you your outro, man? Come on.
It's time. It's time to bring back. It's time to bring back the Virtual Boy. I've been holding on to mine. It's time to bring it back. I'm gonna sell it for like $3 million and retire and go on a sabbatical for the next 3 years.
Well, anyway, we'll go ahead and end it here because we could go on for a few weeks on these same topics. But go ahead and give your outros, and Kenosha, since you're the resident troll, you can go first.
All right. There's two things that OJ and Final Fantasy 15 have in common, and they're
Oh
trash.
god.
This is Kenoshi and Mamonito signing
Uh,
off.
you've gone too far. That is a bridge too far.
Hey, go ahead, Red Fox. Damn, man.
Okay, I'm not gonna go that far. I'm gonna reel it back in. This was a great podcast. It's been a long time in the making. We still need to get that troll cast out the way if we can, sometime next year or this year if you get the time. And yeah, Mr. Red Fox, BS Buster. I was glad to bring some bullshit busting to this podcast because there's always some bullshit that needs to get busted.
All right. And Liger, if you're still there and awake. Liger, you there? He must be doing something. He's always busy, guys. Next up, Perry Fan.
What's up, Perry fan, local citizen of the internet? It was fun being on. Kind of fun there at the end with your guys' tirade. That was fun. But no, nothing much to say except play games because they're fun. Yay!
True, but you saying that you're among the few because most people in this community don't play games anymore. They play features.
Yeah, man. I got voice chat. I got voice chat. I got.
Not if you're playing Battlefront.
You're trolling, bastard.
And last but not least, go ahead, Duo.
Well, because I joined on late, so if anything, basically, I should have 2 videos coming out: the good and then the bad of 2016. And I think Thursday. Next week, the next week Thursday will be the end of the year podcast. I had the same thing I had last year. So, bring your margaritas. Okay, give me some salt on that one. That's what happened last time. It was that because last time we went that route. So,
well, hey, I do have one thing to mention, man. Maybe you're up your way within the next week, so we may have to do another. In-person podcast, perhaps with Sprite Remix. I don't know how it's gonna go, but I'm hoping we get to accomplish that.
Depending on where you're gonna set up, because Sprite's back in Alamance.
Oh, it doesn't matter, man. I'll be in the state. That's all that matters.
It's a big state.
If I drive, I'll drive. Look. I'm in the second biggest state, so I don't think your state compares to mine, buddy.
I know you're right, but it's still a big state now. It's a damn. I mean, hell, if you going straight.
Look, if I'm saying I'm willing to drive, just accept it.
Whatever. All right, whatever. We'll see.
I'll be dropping by your crib, man. So just
Oh, you ain't. I'll make sure the damn people don't lock the gates. Tell them bitches, don't lock the gates.
And last but not least, you got Timeout Corner.
Timeout Corner, 90 Degrees of Geek. Good podcast, dude. Yeah. Ain't been here in a minute. So
yeah, man, for real.
And I need you. That last video you made, man. Wearing that VR headset. That was an dude, you let the VR headset part your head in half. I'm like, dude.
That was funny as hell, for real.
No, stop like seriously. I'm looking like, what the hell is he wearing? I said, is that some kind of shit? I said, no. He did not put on a damn VR headset. I said, no, this is an L already.
Yeah, man. I told you, man. I took an L when I even looked at the show.
That was funny though, but that proves your point. That was funny as hell though. I saw he walked out. I was like, you dog. I was like, what the hell is that on his head? I'm like, oh, that's messed up.
Well, and I'm Dr. Feelgood, folks. I'm glad you guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to check out all these guys' channels. Kenosha, I think you do the Magician Secret. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Magician Secrets.
All right, and you got Red Fox's BS Buses on, I believe, Saturday still.
Saturdays, between either 7 or 8 on Saturdays, p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And of course, you got Ed Duo with his host of segments, Loss of Brain Cells, the WTF, anything that just basically talks about the stupidity and ignorance in gaming overall. Yeah, if you want to find it there.
I do that all the time. I just did one where I have the power, and it was nice.
Hey, look, Liga, it's nothing to be ashamed of, man. You're doing us all a great service.
Exactly. You're doing God's work, man. Well, don't sit there and try and stop. Look, you're doing the whole community. You're doing a community service.
I like how Red said that. You're doing God's work.
And then of course you got Perry Fan, which I invite you guys to check out his Twitter page. I don't think he has a channel, but definitely check out his Twitter page. You should get a channel, man. You should.
Well, I have one because I had to get one for college, but there's like 2 videos on it that are like 3 years old, but And
of course you got Timeout Corner with don't watch his last video because he took an L. But anything before that, Yeah, you should definitely check them out.
98 Degrees of Geek.
And as I always say, folks, keep it gaming. And peace, you rat
Hey.
bastards.